Step in the H.O.K. and get raw form tough as it fly. And then we pulling up on them, putting in that word, trying to get your mind ready. Trying to see your soul if the only one there. We do this for the babies, never give up on them. All of my people just know I got love for them. They say they want smoke, but they ready. If I be in the studio, that's sa.neter. Step in the H.O.K. and get raw form tough as it fly. And then we pulling up on them, putting in that word, trying to get your mind ready. Trying to see your soul if the only one there. We do this for the babies, never give up on them. All of my people just know I got love for them. They say they want smoke, but they ready. If I be in the studio, that's sa.neter. And keep by the system, better watch what you say to them. I do it for the shit, I know I gotta make a way for them. Carry them on my back like I take the gym. Never turn my back, you know I gotta lead the way for them. H.O.K. bringing conscious to the people, holler freedom. Furry giving knowledge, how we free them. Prove what is old, that's how we feed them. It's about to go down in the big coliseum. They talk by smoke, they just blow. They don't want it when you see them. We ready all deep from the head to the bill. In the club, if it's a vibe, me, we take them to the deep things. Slum with the knowledge they've been seeking. If you need a hand, they've been reaching. Really got my back when I need it. See they walking dick, they've been sleeping. Higher than the mountain, I'm peaking. Hold up from the cold down with all this beefing. For the people, it's the spirit they be seeking. Trying to say they baby from the leeches. Been in your bag when we speaking. Trap with that word, got that armor of yapping. It's the spirit we breathing. sa.neter put the other channels on the map like the senses at a meeting. I'm in a yacht, no dick, cannot beat them. Try to want fam, peace and blessings, how we greet them. Step in the H.O.K. and get raw form tough as it fly. And then we pulling up on them, putting in that word, trying to get your mind ready. Trying to see your soul if the only one there. We do this for the babies, never give up on them. All of my people just know I got love for them. They say they want smoke, but they ready. If I be in the studio, that's sa.neter. Step in the H.O.K. and get raw form tough as it fly. And then we pulling up on them, putting in that word, trying to get your mind ready. Trying to see your soul if the only one there. We do this for the babies, never give up on them. All of my people just know I got love for them. They say they want smoke, but they ready. If I be in the studio, that's sa.neter. Don't swerve in my lane, you might crash out. Pull on my friends, you might cash out. Just step in the H.O.K. we keep it jumping the hate away. We put the fake in the hate and the haters way. If we gon' save them, then we gotta make a way. On us a fade away. I got that light that's so bright I can make a day tough as environment. They holler H.O.K. Go buy your car, that's H.O.K. The big coliseum, no, they don't play. Not arms or heads, I'll choose your fate. Up, we can keep the lead that judo way. The mama keep them clothes on, don't do it for a little Roger, put them gunners too many getting taught. Never trade your soul for a track. Got them devils in the cup, but I'm ready. I'm up at the heaven. Keep pushing, we will never stop. Keep running out the numbers, I be running clock. Breeze blow, you just make it pop. When we touch down, you gon' hear it drop. Jump as if I am.
Yeah, y'all already know what it is. Step to the H.O.K. and get beat down. Y'all know. Man, listen, we got a good one for y'all today. I got my brother, my man up in here. Music. K.O.T. in the building. All right? And we're going to talk about some things here, man. Are we Abos? Are we Native Americans? Are we Indians? Who are we? Because, you know, they go through certain names. Some of them say, oh, I'm not Abo. I don't like Abos. Some say I don't like Native American. Some say I don't like be called the Indian. So there's 3 different types, or, you know, it's more out there too, you know. But we're going to deal with this right here, this information. I know a lot of people. And I was just saying to Nepal, I said, you can look at K.O.T. and see that he's definitely Native. He definitely got Indian. You know, you can look at that brother and tell. So that's what I was telling him. But anyway, without any further ado, I bring to you my brother K.O.T. in the building. What up, brother?
Shalom, peace and blessing, family.
Peace and blessings to you, brother. How you, man?
Good, brother.
All right. That's what's up, man. Yeah. When Apostle brought me this title, I was like, damn, that's a nice title. I like that. You know?
Yeah. Is my mic good? Too loud?
No, you good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you good. We hear you. So talk to us, man. Talk to us about this topic here, man.
Yeah, I am part Indian, like what you're saying. So, I mean, some people do see that in me, you know. But my father, this side, go back to Hebrew, Bantu, Abos, and, you know, the culture.
Right.
Identify as Jews, you know, and we go by our father lineage. But like you're saying, a lot of these brothers and sisters say they Abos, Native Americans, Indians, like they change up the time. It doesn't matter because I'm gonna go over some of the boring information for them, you know, read a few dates or some of the science. You know what I'm saying, brother? And
Yeah,
it don't
so
matter what they want to call themselves.
so let me ask you. A part of the 12 tribes, they have Native American in there. How come we never see Native Americans come out and say, I'm a Hebrew Israelite? Even though the Israelites accuse them of being Hebrew, but you don't see them coming out saying, I am a Hebrew. They have their own way of life, they have their own lifestyle, and they don't worship God the way our people worship God, brother. They believe in nature. They believe in the sun, the clouds, the rain.
Right. We'll go over a little bit of that tonight, but you're right, because they're not Israelites, but there are some Israelites among those people. But they got them on the chart. I understand exactly what you're saying. They should be on the chart as a tribe itself. They should teach people that Israelites are among them. That's one thing. But you're right.
Okay. Now you yourself say that you are Israelite.
Yeah.
Here's the question I'm gonna ask you, brother. Are you a bloodline Israelite or are you a convert Israelite?
Well, I'm a bloodline Israelite. My father's people, even in our DNA, see, I'm on the Bantu. That's how we know who we are. Our people have been following the Hebrew culture for thousands of years. So the people I trace back to, and our people, you hear what I'm saying? Our lineage, their culture of the people, their culture is the Israelite culture.
Now, when you say you are a bloodline, how can you prove that though?
Well, I'm saying if you want to go through DNA, I'm saying even by DNA, the same people that claim to be the Jews of the Bible that's been following this culture for thousands of years, we have the same blood. That's the same people. We come from the people that are claiming that. That's what I'm saying, by DNA.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to pass you the mic and let you get into the body of your lecture. Let's get it.
Okay. I'm getting ready to share my screen.
Right.
Just let me know when it's up.
Mm-hmm. All right. I see it. It's up and running.
Is it full screen yet?
Yeah, you heard me? Yeah, it's up and running. It's full screen.
Okay. I'm just waiting on it on my side to load up. I guess it's a little slow.
Okay, because there's a black screen right there. Okay, there you go. There you go.
Peace and blessings, family. Who are we? Native Americans, Indians? Who? We claim to be Israelites. And it's like I just said, because my family lineage, that's why I do. Even though I am part Indian, or what you call Native American or Indian or Abos. But it doesn't make a difference, because I said we're going to go through some of this boring information and we're going to get through some of the good information. But as you see, through cranial morphology, this is what a lot of people like to skip over is these dates. They like to go around these things. But me, when we're dealing with the Bible, any of these things, we're going to go with these dates that they bring us in science. And we see they give us Caucasoid, Mongoloid, Congoloid, Australoid, and Capoid. Seeing that the Congoid being the Negroid. But we go to the National Library of Medicine. Using gene frequency data from 62 procrene loci and 23 blood group loci, we studied the genetic relationship of 3 major races of man. Pay attention, 3 major races of man. That's like saying 3 major races of Adam. But mankind, family, we have the Caucasoid, the Negroid, and Mongoloid. Genetic distance data indicate that Caucasoid and Mongoloid are somewhat closer to each other. So the Caucasoids and the Mongoloids, they're closely related to each other than the Negroid. See, we're a little bit different. Analysis of restriction site data for mitochondrial DNA also shows the same genetic relationship. It seems that the Negroid and the Caucasoid, Mongoloid groups diverged about 110,000 years ago, family, through 34,000 years ago. Whereas Caucasoid and Mongoloid diverged about 41,000 years ago to 15,000 years ago. See, this is that information they skip over. They're afraid of these dates. The Native Americans, the Israelites, a lot of these guys, they like to go around these dates. But we're not. We have man dating back to 110,000 years. 3 groups of man, major races. Go to ScienceDaily.com. Radiocarbon tests of carbonized plant remains where artifacts were unearthed last May along the Savannah River in Allendale County by University of South Carolina. Archaeologist Dr. Albert Goodyear indicate that the sediments containing these artifacts are at least 50,000 years old, meaning that human inhabited North America long before the last ice age. The findings are significant because they suggest that the humans inhabited North America well before the last ice age, more than 20,000 years ago. A potentially explosive revelation in American archaeology, family. And we're going to understand some of this. Goodyear, who has garnered international attention for his discoveries of tools that predate what is believed to be humans' arrival in North America, announced the test results, which were done by the University of California at Irving Laboratory Wednesday, November 17. The dates could actually be older, Goodyear says. 50,000 should be a minimum age since there may be little detectable activity left. So he's stating that humans being in America, they can date it to at least 50,000 years ago at minimum. Now, this is major for a reason because the dawn of modern Homo sapiens occurred in Africa between 60,000 and 80,000 years ago. Evidence of modern man's migration out of Africa continent has been documented in Australia and Central Asia at 50,000 years and in Europe at 40,000 years. The fact that humans could have been in North America at or near the same time is expected to spark debate among archaeologists worldwide, raising new questions on the origin and migration of the human species. So that threw a wrench in the debate topic, in their argument, because they see that if these people migrated out of Africa around the same time we have people supposed to be in America. So we know that there were people in America. That's what we need to understand, family. Not only in Africa at this time. Topper is the oldest radiocarbon dated site in North America, Goodyear says. However, other early sites in Brazil and Chile, as well as a site in Oklahoma, also suggest that humans were in the Western Hemisphere as early as 30,000 years ago to perhaps 60,000 years ago. We go to the Archaeological Institute of America. Yesterday, archaeologists from the underwater site of Hoyo Negro made it. It's funny, family. Understand they call it Hoyo Negro for a reason. Made an amazing announcement. They have uncovered the oldest, most complete human skeleton in the New World to date, calculated at 12,000 to 13,000 years old. But that's not all. Analysis of these remains have revealed DNA evidence that connects the earliest settlers of the New World with modern Native Americans. So they're saying by DNA, they're connecting these people. This man from Hoyo Negro in Mexico, they're connecting them to the Native Americans. For years, archaeologists have debated whether modern Native Americans and Paleo-Americans were descended from different population groups. Based on important differences in their skeletal morphology, findings from this site, however, may be the next step up in bridging these two peoples. The skeleton at Hoyo Negro is unique because it has both facial features of Paleo-Americans and mitochondrial DNA that is found in modern Native Americans. So they're connecting the Paleo-Americans with the Native Americans. So it doesn't matter if they want to call themselves Abos, Native Americans, or Indians, because you have to deal with these dates and this DNA and this science. Go to Palladium. In 2021, scientists radiocarbon dated pollen found in human footprints at the White Sands National Park in New Mexico. It came back with dates of greater than 20,000 years. Critics demanded more evidence, and in 2023, using new data and more advanced methods seems to have confirmed the date. Though there are still skeptics, the White Sands discovery is not the only site that dates to the last glacial maximum between 20 to 26,000 years ago. For decades, paleoanthropologists believed the ancestors of American natives were a Siberian tribe that came over from Asia to North America just 13,500 years ago, crossing over Beringia, a landmass exposed by sharply reduced sea levels. During the last ice age, they called these people the Clovis culture, based on distinct spears, points first discovered next to the remains of mammoths at a site in New Mexico. The paradigm posited that over 300 years, these big game hunters spread across the New World driving megafauna into extinction and eventually diversifying into the peoples as we know today as Native Americans. Let me move this out the way, family, in case it's blocking someone. Yet already 25 years ago, the evidence contradicting this paradigm began quite strong. So we see that paradigm has been contradicted, family. There were too many sites that predated Clovis by centuries. Monteverde in Chile, where archaeologists have been excavating since 1977, is extensively documented and is over 1,000 years older than Clovis. In Mexico, K.O.T cave has yielded 1,900 stone artifacts, and dates were returned as early as 31 to 33,000 years ago, long before the last glacial maximum. See, there was before the youngest tribe, family, that was due to an ice age. That's what we're dealing with, the last glacial maximum. Being more conservative, the researchers at this site are convinced that humans were claiming it 20,000 years ago at the latest. These dates imply that this population, presumptually part of the same group that was leaving footprints at White Sands National Park, arrived much earlier because the expansion of the ice sheets beginning 26,000 years ago definitely blocked the interior migration path and would have made a seaborne route along the western periphery very difficult as glaciers push to the edge of the Pacific. So they're saying from the footprints to the same people of the Sands National Park, they're connecting these people of Mexico also, bringing them back to 26,000 years and older. And this is what we come to, family. See, I had to read some of the little boring information, but if those that understand the scientists and the dates understand something, that human is dated back that far back. But these guys, whether Indians, Native Americans, Israelites, whatever, they like to push these dates to the side because they don't understand what it means. Now we have a problem here because we have the Negritos, family, and East Asians migrated to America over 20,000 years ago. So we have the Americans, the first Americans, the Americans that was here, that came here and established, who were actually the Native American Indians, or some may want to call it the Abos. We have them. They are the Negritos. And East Asians migrated to America over 20,000 years ago. Now, this is interesting, family, because these people are not us. This is not us. Now, this may be some of Dan Calloway family. If he actually is tracing back to the Negritos, then they are these Native Americans. See, we are not. You understand? We are African descendants, but we claim to be the Jews of Africa. So it's a difference. These people are Asians. We're part Asiatic due to our mixture, but we're not these people. We're going to find this out. The first humans to arrive in the Americas likely came from Asia. And this migration occurred during the last glacial maximum, when sea levels were lower and a land bridge connected Asia and North America. These early migrants were likely related to populations in East Asia. And some studies suggest a connection between Negritos and early skeletal remains in the Americas. So they connect by skeletal remains. They got a connection between the Negritos. You see these Negritos to the bottom right, family, the top. These are the Negritos, the ones that look like us. These are the Negritos, family. Give me 1 second, family.
Yeah. Y'all see my brother K.O.T going in early. I'm loving this right here. Yeah.
Okay, I'm back, family. I had a lot of background noise. But we found out that these early migrants, immigrants or migrants, they related to peoples in East Asia. And these people are Negritos, not the Negroes. Now I understood why they kept calling us African Negroes. It makes sense now when you put it into the scientific understanding. Because these people are Negritos, they're similar to Negro, but they're not us. These are different peoples. But they actually have the connection between these skeletal remains and these people. So we have these Asian-looking peoples, which are related to these same people here, these Negritos. Negrito is a name for several ethnic groups from South and Southeast Asia. The name is a diminutive form of Negro. Like the term Negro, many people consider it to be offensive. Usually, Negritos have a dark skin, curly hair, Asian facial features, and do not grow to be very tall. So it makes sense why a lot of them are short, even when they continue to mix with the other Asians. Negritos refer to several diverse groups of small, dark-skinned peoples in Southeast Asia. And the Andaman Islands, they are often characterized by their short stature, dark skin, and dark frizzy or tightly curled hair. These groups have been described as the first Sundaland people. So these are also the first Sundaland people, suggesting they inhabited the region long before other groups. So they're not also just the Native Americans when they come here. They're also the Sundaline people, the aboriginals of these places. Because if you want to use that out of Africa theory, these people are the first ones migrating to these places. And then the Negritos. Negritos people are not considered to be African. Now I quite understand why some of these brothers say they're not African. Because us Israelites, I don't understand why Israelites were said, because our land is in Africa. So it don't make sense when they say we are Africans. We're the African Jews. If you want to put it in that way, because the continent is called Africa. So we have to say that landmass, what they call it today, we're from that continent, but we're the Jews of that continent. So it's a difference. We have an ethnic group. We know what ethnic group of Africa we are. But these people are not Africans. So when you see some of these brothers claiming to be Native American, if they can prove they're coming from the Negritos, they're in fact Native Americans, Aboriginals, or Indians. If they claiming to be from these people, but a lot of them are coming from African descendants. And I'm going to show you why they claim to be Indians. But Negritos peoples are not considered to be African. They are indigenous populations of Southeast Asia. See, I showed you that they come from there and migrated to America, the first peoples. And they also came with the light-skinned Asians. And the Andaman Islands, which genetic evidence suggesting they are more closely related to Asian populations. So now we see these dark-skinned people looking similar to us. But even as science, these people are not Africans. Because by using out of Africa theory, once people migrate out of Africa and they start civilizations, just like the European, everyone that came out of Africa, they're no longer Africans. So we leave out of Africa at a different time period. These people are not Africans. They are more closely related to Asian populations. The term Negrito refers to a variety of ethnic groups with dark skin, small stature, and other physical features, including the Ayeta of the Philistines, the Semang of Malaysia, and the Andamanese peoples of the Andaman Islands. Genetic studies have shown that the Negrito populations are more closely related to Asia-Pacific populations than to African pygmies or other African groups. So we have genetic studies even showing they're more closely related to Asian-Pacific populations than to African pygmies or other African groups. So we can't actually call all black people the same people, literally, because, and then a lot of these guys ain't Native American, but they're claiming they are. But this is one reason, because we have the Black Seminoles. It's a reason why they're called Black Seminoles. Now, we know this is on the 12 tribes chart, but they don't have Black Seminoles on it. They have Seminole Indian. They have certain names. They don't have exact. They're not telling you that Israelites are among these people. They're trying to tell you that these tribes are Israelites. But we see, who are the Black Seminoles? A group associated with the Seminole people in Florida and Oklahoma with mixed Native American and African origins. So I'm going to give you these certain groups with the African origins, showing you that a lot of these black brothers and sisters, they only claiming to be from these tribes because they're mixed in with these people. But some of them could be if they trace back to Negritos or the other Asians that are related to the Negritos, then they in fact are Native Americans or Indians. But it says Native American and African origins, descended from free Africans, escaped slaves and Seminoles, who allied in Spanish Florida, developed a distinct culture blending African, Native American, Spanish, and slave traditions, including language and diet. We also have the Gullah Geechee, located along the coastal regions of South Carolina and Georgia, with a unique culture that blends West African and Native American traditions, with a significant African American element due to their history and enslaved Africans. We also have the Cherokee, Chickasaw, Choctaw, the Creek, Seminole, had populations of freedmen, individuals formerly enslaved by tribal members, who later became part of the tribes. These freedmen often intermarried with tribal members, leading to a blending of African and Native American ancestry. So that's how a lot of these brothers and sisters, they're trying to claim they are these people, because they're mixed with them. So you can't say on the mother's side, because a lot of them are on the mother's side, some are father's side. You can say they are. It depends how you want to look at it. But we also have the Wampang and the Nukmuk, and we have the Pequot And you have who else? That's it, family. But we're gonna show you something in a second. Texas State Historical Association. Black Seminole. Since a difference, it just can't put Seminole because they're not all the same people. So they had to separate it. Even they separated in the college. Black Seminole Indians, sometimes known as American Indian blacks, Black Muskogees, or Seminole freedmen, emerged as a distinct ethnic group in the 17th century. Florida. During the early part of that century, the Spanish crown, which controlled Florida, gave land to a group of lower Creeks, hoping to form a buffer zone between themselves and the English settlers in Georgia and the Carolinas. Over time, the Creeks were joined by other bands, such as the Mikuskis and the Apalachico class. We'll let some Indian brothers pronounce their names. But by 1822, this confederation had adopted the name Seminole. See, by the 1822 Federation, they adopted the name Seminole and numbered close to 5,000 members. Throughout the history of Spanish Florida, the Crown had also offered asylum to runaway slaves. Maroons, family. We know who they are, our family members. From the English colonies, entire free communities of blacks existed under Spanish rule in Florida and other parts of the empire. When the Spanish surrendered Florida to Britain in 1763, the policy of legal manumission ended, but the area's reputation as a sanctuary persisted. Runaways turned to the Seminoles for protection. So a lot of our brothers and sisters, our ancestors, they were turned to the Seminoles. They don't say black Seminoles. They turned to the Seminoles for protection and asylum from slave hunters. During and after the American Revolution, the Seminoles added to the number of Maroons through capture and purchase. But that's another thing why they was calling the Native Americans Negroes, because they were Negritos, and they looked as similar to the Negroes that came off the boat. That's the thing. But a lot of our brothers and sisters didn't read this study or do the studies on it to know that. They just grouped all these people in with us and tried to take their culture and add it to us and add ours to theirs. But although considered slaves by the Seminoles, blacks found life a great deal more tolerable under their new masters, who adopted many of the practices of the lineage Spanish slave system. Seminoles in Florida often refused to sell their slaves or to turn them over to slave hunters or other Indians without being coerced. So a lot of the Seminoles, they didn't want to turn our ancestors over. They wanted to keep them because a lot of them was helping them and they were mixing with them. See, this is the Seminoles, family. These are your Seminoles. Look closely. These are your Seminoles. Remember, a lot of these people come from Negritos and of the East Asians. They are the same family members. But the Negritos look like Negroes. They're just short. Some of them light-skinned, but a lot of them are dark-skinned. But then you have those light-skinned East Asians, which are related to the Negritos. Those are these people. Seminole also. It's the difference between the Seminole and the black Seminole. Pay attention. The nation was created when runaway African slaves and various Indian nations settled together in Florida. The Africans who settled with the Native American groups were referred to as Estelusti. The nation is different from other indigenous Native American tribes in that its formation occurred as a result of European conquest. So that nation, it formed because of European conquest. Refugees from primarily the Creek Nation settled in Florida, along with the Africans. And an alliance formed between Native Americans and the Africans because the Africans were well adapted to Florida's tropical terrain and were able to share their methods of cultivation. Remember, us Israelites, we calling these Africans Israelites. These are African Jews. But some of them may have been non-Israelites, but we know we claim a lot of them. But then we begin to see Seminoles, family. You got black Seminoles. They begin to mix with the Seminoles. So you have the black Seminoles also. But remember, you already had black-looking Seminoles too, because the Negritos. The Negritos are among many of the native tribes, which look like Negroes. They're just shorter. With the Native Americans today, the Estelusti are called the black Seminoles. It's a separation. The black Seminoles assimilated with their Indian counterparts by providing their skills and services to the tribe. In return, the Native Americans provided protection from slave hunters from the north. This cooperative relationship between the Indians and the Africans has existed since the nation's creation. The Seminoles and the Africans created a system of government independent from one another. So they created a system of government together. However, the nation functioned as a unit in resistance to British aggression and slave raids from the north. Now we're going to jump to the Gullah Geechee. You know, a lot of Gullah Geechee claim to be Indians. And a lot of them know their heritage. So we said the Gullah Geechee people are descendants of Africans. These are descendants of Jews, what we would say, who were enslaved on the rice, indigo, and sea island cotton plantations of the lower Atlantic coast. Many came from the rice growing region of West Africa. So we know they're related to us. The nature of their enslavement on isolated island and coastal plantations created a unique culture with deep African retentions that are clearly visible in the Gullah Geechee's people's distinctive arts, craft, foodways, music, and language. But we need to understand is that while Igbo influences certainly present in Gullah Geechee culture, because many of Gullah Geechee are of Igbo, of West Africa, who are claimed to be Jews themselves. But the Gullah Geechee's people are not monolithic groups. Their ancestors came from various parts of West and Central Africa, including the Igbo, the Mandinka, and others. See, a lot of these tribes claim to be of Jews, though. That's what we need to understand. Now, some of them aren't Jews, but many of them claim to be Jews. So, however you want to take it. We'll jump to the Cherokee. The Cherokee are indigenous people of North America. Now, I showed you these people was coming to America already. That's what I began with. It was the Negritos, the East Asians, which are relatives, but the Negritos look like Negroes. They're just shorter, and they look a little different. Some have straight hair. Well, many have straight hair. Some have woolly hair like us. But we see the Cherokee are indigenous people of North America, originally from the southeastern United States. They were forcibly relocated during the 1830s to Oklahoma, an event known as the Trail of Tears. We have the Cherokee Nation. The Cherokee Nation, that's the source. The Cherokee Nation is a sovereign tribal government. Upon settling in Indian territory, present-day Oklahoma, after the Indian Removal Act, the Cherokee people established a new government in what is now the city of Tahlequah. So they established their own government. So we know these are not actual Jews. Now this is what we need to understand. These foundational of these tribes, they're not Israelites, but you have Israelites among these tribes. Just the tribes I'm bringing up because it says you have African descendants among these specific tribes. That's why I brought them up. A constitution was adopted on September 6, 1839, 68 years prior to Oklahoma's statehood. Let's take a look at the Cherokees, family. These are your Cherokees. It's all your Cherokees right here, family. Let's go to Chickasaw. These are your Chickasaw, the Chickasaw Nation. Remember the Negritos and these Asians, and then you have enslaved Africans, and these enslaved Africans claim to be Jews. They're among these people and mixed among many of these people. But many of these people already have a Negro look because they're Negritos. Many of them have an African look. But you see the light-skinned Asians I put up there because they're related to these Negrito Asians. You have the Choctaw. So we see, family, you have the Choctaw in there. That's why I give you the picture form so you can actually view things. Only 14 years after almost the entire Choctaw population were forcefully relocated in the Trail of Tears by U.S. government. So your Choctaw. Now, if any of our brothers claiming to be Native Indian, Abos, or Indians, they claim to be of these people, they must be of the Negritos or these East Asians. But if they say they are African descent mixed in, if it's their father lineage, they know we claim them to be one of us. And we know a lot of these native tribes, they claim by their mother's lineage. So a lot of these brothers can claim to be Indian. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of these tribes go by their mother lineage. But we went by our father lineage for our inheritance of our land and our rulership, our kingship and priesthood. It went by our bloodline of our fathers. But a lot of these tribes go by their mothers. These are your Creek. These are your Creek family. Take a close look. Y'all remember, enslaved Africans went among all these tribes. Well, majority of these tribes. Is that it was bought by them and being enslaved, or it was bought by them to be protected. but many of them mixed among them. And reason why, because a lot of them was Negritos. It was a Negroid-looking people, but they are not African descent. But they would begin to mix with Negroes from Africa. So this is the Nipmuc. This is what we understand, that we have different Negroid people that we need to understand, different African-looking people on this earth and in America for sure, and on these islands. Remember, many of us that come off the boat, we're related to a lot to each other. We mixed among a lot of these tribes also. So many of our brothers and sisters are among these tribes. But it's not as the 12 tribes chart teach. These entire tribes are not Israelites. We're just among these tribes because we mixed in from being enslaved. They will either buy us to slave us or buy us to protect over us. The Nipmuc. But all the black brothers and sisters you see among them don't think they are of African descent, because they're not. Only some of them are. Some of these are Negritos. That's why they look like they could be African. But I showed you already by genetics, they are not Africans. That's just the thing. They look like Africans. The Pequot. These people. We're almost done, family. The Pequot people, however you want to pronounce that. But these are their people. Now, some of these people are not African descent. The Negritos. Now remember, us Israelites, we have Asiatic blood in us too, a lot of us, because we migrated from that area at a certain time period. Then we came back into Africa. Remember 70 AD, we fled out of the regions into Africa. Even the second Esdras, Azarus is not America, it's in Africa, West Africa and North Africa, North and Northwest Africa, Azarus. So at that time period, you had many of the Northern Kingdom Israelites already in Africa. Azarus was not America. That's a doctrine that was created. Because they didn't check the genetic studies or the archaeology to see that there's other people that are Negro people that are not even African descent, or not even the same people as us. Because we began to mix more with Hamitic bloodlines in Africa when we came into Africa. So a lot of people got even darker. So we will look more Hamitic, a lot of us. Some of us don't, because we came back to America. We're mixing with some of the people in America. But a lot of them, they get their doctrine from this. I'll give you a simple research. Here's a Wikipedia. James Adair, 1709 to 1783, was a native of County of Antrim, Ireland, who went to North America and became a trader with the Native Americans of the southeastern woodlands. Now pay attention to this though, family, because he's born, he says 1709 to 1783. But by 1709, family, by the time this guy was born, it's estimated that there were around 27,817 enslaved Africans in British North America. So by the time he's even born, there's already Israelites that we call Israelite Jews, African Jews already in America. So African Jews are already in America before this guy even get on it, before he ever grows up to get into his study. Then we go down to by 1740. This number had increased significantly to 150,000. And by 1770, it grew up to 462,000. But let's jump back down to James Adair. The value of Adair's work as showing the relations between the natives and the English traders was recognized, and a German translation appeared at Brazil. In 1782, it must be admitted that a very disproportionate space is given to the hypothesis that the American natives are descended from the lost 10 tribes of Israel. So they came up with this doctrine. But the thing is, you ought to have Israelites living among these tribes before this guy's born. Before he's born, you have Israelites among these tribes. By the time he grows up to do his study, Israelites are already living among these tribes. Their traditions are already mixing with the native traditions before he goes around through these tribes. So a lot of people don't know that unless they're understanding the research. But a lot of them, they made that claim so they can conquer and take land too. They wanted the land, they wanted the resources, so they wanted these people to be lost tribes. Thomas Thorogood, adopting an old idea of the Spanish Las Casas, had first maintained this theory in English in 1650 in his Jewish in America. So this is a theory they maintained since 1650. Both Roger Williams and Jonathan Edwards. So you see where the brother James Adair began to get his doctrine from. Because you already had these other guys with these theories. Both Roger Williams and Jonathan Edwards seem to rather incline to favor the view, which is elaborately set forth by Adair, has since found champions in Elias Banduna, Star in the West, 1816. So we have books coming later on after people trying to use this theory. And in Edward King Viscount Kisborough, among the points of similarity between the Jews and natives, Adair emphasized the divisions in the tribes, worship of a great spirit, Jehovah, notions of a theocracy, of ablutions and uncleanliness, cities of refuge, and practices as regards divorce and raising seed to a deceased brother. The bias imparted by this theory to many of Adair's remarks led Volney to condemn the whole book in his tableau du climate et du soles estats and newness. So they came up with the theory that these natives could be the lost tribe because they wanted the gold and stuff that these natives had, and they figured they can persuade each other, they can come and take it. But you already had Israelites among these people. Ones that were sold on ships and before. You had Israelites started making contact with these native tribes. That's what we need to understand. In the journal of his second voyage in 1493, Columbus wrote that when he reached Haiti, the native Taino people told him that black-skinned people had come from the south and southeast in ships, trading in gold-tipped metal spears. So this is in 1493, the Taino. While there's no direct link to African origins, so Taino don't have no direct link to African origins. So they're not Israelites. But this is the thing about it. There's evidence of intermarriage between Taino women and African men in some areas. So we go by father lineage. So since then, it's been African Jews mixing with these Taino women, particularly in maroon communities. These intermarriages led to mixed race populations, contributing to the complex ancestry of modern Caribbean populations. So a lot of Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, a lot of you guys are Israelites because a lot of these maroon populations that were African Jews were mixing with these Taino women. But this is what they say, including those who identify with Taino heritage. So even these people, they was continuing to identify as being Taino Indians, but they actually come from African Jews. So you got a lot of African Jews. So like our brother Katazai, he's Taino, but as we see, he has to be Taino because the African descent for those 400 years or so. African Jews have been mixing with those Taino women. So a lot of people, and they're claiming to be Taino Indians, not even Africans. So this is what's crazy why a lot of people are mixed up today. Because they don't claim their heritage, they actually claim those tribes that they mixed among. Like I was showing you, a lot of the African Jews that went among those natives, they claim to be the native tribes. But understanding them because they were being enslaved, they had to hide. That's one reason. But even to today, they still claim to be them tribes. And not telling you they really come from African origin. Go to the Valdosta Daily Times. According to an American historian, linguist Leo Werner of Harvard University, one of the strongest pieces of evidence to support the fact that Africans sailed to America before Christopher Columbus was a journal entry from Columbus himself. In Werner's book, Africa and the Discovery of America, he explains that Columbus noted in his journal that the Native Americans confirmed a black-skinned people had come from the southeast in boats, trading in gold-tipped spears. It was found also that the ratio of properties of gold, copper, and silver alloy were identical to the spears then being forged in African Guinea. Now I'm going to show you, because a lot of these are African Jews that were actually making contact all that time. Some of these are Africans that are non-Israelites, but a lot of these are Africans that are Israelites that was actually trading on those boats. Like the Jews of Bilad, El Sudan. These were Jewish communities that existed in West Africa, primarily in Bilad, El Sudan region, which was also known as the land of the blacks. Jewish communities were present in West Africa in the 14th century. So way before Small had ever existed, we have Jewish communities in the 14th century. And a lot of these were the guys that was doing the trade on boats coming to the Americas or to the islands. And likely earlier. And some of them were involved in the trade of weaponry, including spearheads. You see that, family? These communities known as Jews of Bilal El Sudan, also called Bilal Al Sudan, were merchants who migrated to West Africa from Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. seeking trading opportunities. They were present in areas like the Ghana Empire, Mali Empire, and Songhai Empire. Remember, these people claim to be Jews way before small had existed. So you can't deny these people of their own heritage, but this ain't the argument. I'm just showing you about the spearhead that in Columbus Journal, we have Africans coming on boats trading spears. I brought you over to the Jews of Balad who traded in spearhead weaponry. And these are those people, Jews of Balad or Al Sudan. These people are related to us. So I look like I look, because on my mother's side, I do have Indian origins, see? But my father's side, I'm Bantu, Kosha Igbo, related to the Limba, the Rubal. And we know, I know the actual people, the actually the Israelites. But we see the art of the whole building in Kuwait. But these are the type of boats that they had in that time period of the 14th century. They had these boats in Africa. Had other boats also. But this is what I'm getting at. The Gulf of Jews. It refers to the coastline of Loango, which is now located in northern Gabon, near the border with Cameroon. Some European maps from the 17th century designated this as area of the Gulf of the Jews. So this the Gulf of the Jews, right, family? And you get what I'm getting at? This is West Africa. We have Gabon, right, family? We have Equatorial Guinea. You get what I'm getting at? This is Equatorial Guinea. The boats they use. We have the spears showing the Jews of Bilad el Sudan. They were trading the spears and weaponry. We see in the journal of Christopher Columbus, they found that those spears are also made in African Guinea. See what I'm saying? Then that's why I went through showing you that this is also Gabon, which is where Guinea is, which is where the Jews are, African Jews. So they were also rolling them boats, making that weaponry and coming already to the islands. So some of them been messing with the women and mixing with the women on the islands then, but it was later on when the Southern Kingdom was sold. That's when the majority began to mix even more and more. But we see that if they want to call themselves Indians, you have to be of the East Asian or the Negritos to be the real Americans, or you just have to tell the truth and say you're of the African Jews, or that you just want to call yourself African, mixed with the Indians or natives. But that's why that was my last slide. I didn't want to make it too long.
All right, man. They had a lot of smoke going on in the chat. Oh man.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Yes. Out of the Elder Yara, I'm gonna drop the link in case anybody want to come in and ask you questions. Elder Yara said the out of Africa theory is false. I want to know what he mean by that, man. What is you talking about, Elder Yara? I need to know, what are you talking about, brother?
Yeah, but what I just read, some people believe it's false because of some people in America at a certain time. So I ain't making an argument whether it is or isn't. I just bringing out the information.
Right. Nah, go ahead. You're doing your thing. But I also want to know, too, from the Israelites and from the Indians and the Moors, nobody want to be African. When you tell the world that you are African, you letting them know one thing, that you are the original man and the original woman. Naphtali is saying that original what? It's like she don't believe that the African people are the original people on the planet.
Yeah, we got pretty much.
Is that true, Naphtali? Hit the link. You can ask your question as well. The link is in the chat. Go ahead, brother. You can talk while we waiting on the people to hit that link.
Okay, but that's true what you're saying, because even by genetic studies, archaeology of bones, whatever they want to say, it's gonna be the African man. Like, they don't like the word African. We know it's a new word, but if we just use our common senses for our studies, we have to use these words they came up with, and I'm gonna use it because it's what is written in these studies. And yes, the African man is the oldest. The African woman is the oldest on the planet.
Yeah, I don't know why that's hard for them to believe.
Self-hate, what I take it as, maybe for the doctrines that are being taught to hate Africans.
Right. Well, family, the link is in the chat. It's pinned up at the top. There's a lot of smoke going on. Nobody hitting that link right now. I'm surprised Apostle would be the first one. Usually, he's the first one in the building.
Yeah, I don't know where he's at. He's supposed to have been on here.
I think Apostle is watching. I think he's watching because I called him earlier and told him you was going to be on today. Yep. There you go. I knew he'd be in the building. There you go. You was going to be on today. Apostle, what's up, brother? I hear echo. There you go. I knew he'd be in the building. There you go. You was going to be on today. Yeah, you got an echo now, Apostle. You ain't having an echo. You hear echo? I knew he'd be in the building. You ain't had no echo yesterday, brother. You got an echo now. No, man, stop messing with that joint, man. You messing it up. Are you saying the original man was black and he was first? Neftali, I'm saying the original people on the planet were of African descent. They were African first. Do you think they were Israelites? Come on, Neftali. I mean, you smarter than that. You rocking the new school of thought, right? So come on, bring that new school of thought. Hit the link and you can come in and ask your question. All right, we got D's in the building. Do you have a question, my brother? When you come in, you got to turn on your cameras, everybody. You got to turn on your cameras.
Yep. I have a question. Well, first I want to say, K.O.T, good job on your presentation. A lot of I will be tuned in because I don't really get into that Hebrew Israelite stuff. You know, that is preference and subjectable. I was more to that in Hebrew and I think Israelite stuff. So I asked you basically.
You're going in and out. You're going in and out, D's.
And we're breaking up.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
So I asked you. All right, let me go and get on the laptop.
All right.
Just a moment. I'll be back.
All right. Let me go to hold on. What's up, man?
What's going on, Sai? Peace to the panel. Peace to everybody. Yeah, brother. Everything that you presented was so far-fetched, from your descriptions of the Negritos to your correlation between Israelites and these tribes. You don't have a true grasp or understanding of what Gullah Geechee, who Gullah Geechee people are. And then the black Seminoles, the way that you're using the term black. I mean, I don't understand why is it so difficult for y'all to leave those people alone and let them have their particular identity and stop being afraid to be black men. In order to be black in America, you have to be a person of African descent. That is a term that is fortified, it's legal. It describes us, period, point blank. When you bringing up Negritos, they don't have anything to do with what's going on over here in America. They never made it to America. How and why are you suggesting that on sa.neter's internet?
Why I ain't suggest anything? I read the science. They stated this. This ain't nothing I created, brother. You must have missed this. This is what the scientists stated. They also stated in the skeletal findings there was Negrito. This is what they stated in the genes and genetics. And they're fighting.
Brother,
So you ain't
what do you know the haplogroups? Do you know the haplogroups?
I'm with you on that. Let them people
Right.
have
Do you
it.
know the haplogroups?
Hold on, I'm with
Do
you.
you know
Let
the
them people have it.
haplogroups of the
Hold on, brother. Hold on. You got to let him finish. You got to let K.O.T finish.
Yeah, he let me finish. I'm with this brother. Let them people have their stuff. You missed the whole point of what I was saying. We ain't those people. That's what I constantly kept telling you. Let those people have their heritage. I told you they put that on the tribe chart. It's not true. We have Negroes that mixed in among them. I thought that out. And the scientists said African descent. Intermingle with them. Intermarry. What are you saying?
All right.
You must miss what I said.
So again, maybe I did. But again, when I'm looking at what you have up here in respects to your presentation, you are missing so many different things. You constantly brought up the word Negroid, Negroid, which is an outdated term. No scientist in today's world, present today, or in the last 100 years has used Negroids to describe any person on here. That particular word was coined by Blumenbach back in the 1700s, which was a racist eugenicist, anthropologist who was extremely racist. So when you guys are doing this, man, I mean, like I say, to me, it's just so embarrassing to hear black men try to be Israelites, try to be everything other than who y'all are. We are not. We are Africans. We're West and Central Africans. We're not a part of the Jews of the Balad of Al Sudan. That doesn't have anything to do with us. But again, y'all perpetrate this and y'all push this stuff out here in the community, and it's wrong to do so.
You pretty much can't go against something I ain't even say. That's what's crazy about it. Like, I agree with a lot of stuff you're saying, because I said I kept reading African descent. I just said the Africans that they are were Jews of African. Those the type of Africans they were. Don't you understand? Because everyone from Africa is not the same people or from the same country. I'm saying that these particular people were stating that they were Jews, African Jews, when you go back into studies of today also. But the National Library of Medicine and Science, they're the one using Negroid. I even brought it up. They're the one using Negroid still to today in their information, in their sources. So you got to go argue with these people in science that are still using it today. He says it's outdated, but go tell the National Library of Medicine to stop using it. Are they outdated? No. So you ain't got an argument with me, because I agree with you. I agree we come from Africa, but I say we are Jews of Africa. I landed in Africa. Yeah, we African, but I'm an African Jew. It's a difference, brother. I ain't against Africa. That's the name of continent. I'm not against the people of Africa. I want all them to have peace. That's why I'm for my brother Ibrahim Traore. Need to fight for him too, because I'm for Africa. You don't get
All
it.
right. Apostle, you still have an echo? Test 1, 2. All right. Yeah, see?
Put me on the big screen, sir.
You have an echo, Apostle. Your echo is bad. Yeah, see? Testing 1, 2. Your echo is bad.
It's still bad.
Yeah, you got to turn down your mic. I know what you did. You turned up your mic thing.
Is it still bad?
Yes. No. Go ahead. It's better. Go ahead. Talk.
Is it still bad?
I can hear it a little bit, but go ahead. Talk.
It's better?
A little better, but go ahead.
What I'm holding in my hand.
Put it to the screen.
What I'm holding in my hand. What I'm holding in my hand.
Put it to the screen.
What I'm holding in my hand are identifications from the government. One are identifications from the government. It's a delay side. That's what it is.
Nah, it's just the echo, brother.
One of them is my national gun permit.
Nah, it's just the echo, brother.
One of them is my national gun permit. I am from the Muskogee tribe. So I am Chief the Muskogee Zaquan Almayad. So I am Chief Zaquan Almayad. This is documented. This gives me diplomat immunity throughout the states. This gives me diplomat immunity throughout the state. Because my grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee, not from Africa. My mother was a full-blooded Cherokee.
Right.
Not from Africa. Stop telling people that they can't be mixed with natives as well as being African. With natives as well as being African. We're both.
Right.
Did you get it? Both. We are both.
You're both. Not everybody is both.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it. We hear you.
This is evidence and proof recognized by the United.
I got it. We hear you.
Yeah. Evidence and proof recognized.
All right, Apostle. Let's move on over to D's. It's in the building. D's, what's up, brother?
My brother Saw, what's happening? Peace
All
to
right.
the panel. What up to K.O.T? Want to say, brother, you did
brother.
a pretty good job with your presentation. The stuff about Hebrew and Israelite, I really can't comment on because I really don't get into that because that is personal preference, subjective, et cetera. You know, we could slap box about that on a darn another day. You actually were not. I thought I was going to fly in here because I thought you were saying that black people are Abos here, and you was on that, you know, pretending and stuff. Well, actually, you cleaned it up a bit, and you were basically agreeing that humanity comes from Africa, and that us black people who are over here now, we descend from Africans. So my smoke really would be with someone else, like some of the people in the chat, who have contention with the out of Africa theory. They don't even know that they're basically saying that we are separate species. They're basically saying that we are separate. See, that's the hurdle who people who will say that the out of Africa theory false will have to get over. But I guarantee you they can't get over it. They don't have the science to get over that we all come from Africa. You know, we did not have people pop up in Africa and people pop up in South America. Reason being, and I'm going to give y'all this as a damn freebie. This one's free. If that was the case, we would not be able to have children together. You can't get past that. You can't get around that. We would not be able to have children with each other. Black people would not be able to have children with white people, Asians, etc., etc. If anyone wants to darn slap box about it, we can do that. You know, but great job, K.O.T. Like I said, I don't really get into that Israelite stuff.
Thank you,
I
brother.
don't rock with it, but hey, that's up to you. And what the pastor, what the apostle said, I don't think that most people are denying that some Black Americans have admixture with Native Americans. The problem comes in is when you have these super pseudo people saying that they have no African genetics. They have no African in them. No African.
There you go. There you go.
Anyone saying that
right.
is a damn super pseudo-licious rambler. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I don't see any smoke yet. I fall back.
All right. Top boy, you in the building, man. What up? Top boy, what up? Where? Unmute yourself. Oh man, top boy done exit out. He done ran. King J, what up, brother? You next.
Peace to the panel. Peace to everybody.
Peace, brother.
The brother that gave the presentation. Would
K.O.T.
you say that?
K.O.T.
Would you say that Homo erectus, that's the first hominid that walked out of Africa? Would you say that is so there is no race at this period, right? We are under the same understanding that race is a social construct, right? It wasn't a white or black at that period, correct?
Yeah.
So when Homo erectus leaves out of Africa, right? Does he encounter another hominid?
What do you mean, like the Decennovans?
I'm asking you. When Homo erectus, so at that point there is no Neanderthals or Homo sapiens or Denisovans at that point. It's the Homo erectus is the first hominid to walk, the upright man, right?
What year you got on the Homo erectus? What year?
Homo erectus is like 3 million years ago. What's it like?
Right, but they didn't migrate out of Africa. The migration out of Africa started with the Homo sapiens.
So wait. So that's not even the question I'm asking this brother. The
But
first
why would you
hominid
ask
that
him a
walked.
question though? If they didn't
Listen,
move out, if they didn't migrate out of Africa, why would you ask
brother,
him if they
brother,
were involved with other Africans or after
understand
other species?
understand the question before you interject. The question that I'm asking them, brother, is if this is the first hominid that's walking out of the continent of Africa, what is the other hominid species that he's encountering to admix with?
Well, I don't agree. I don't agree that we specifically come from those people. I believe we come from a different hominid, a human type person, more
That's why
close
I
to the
asked
man.
you.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's why I asked you, where did
But
they come from?
I would say others made contact. But like you're saying, I would say some people came into Africa also, which what they ain't teaching. It's more to it that science is not teaching. It ain't people just left out of Africa. There's people that came into Africa.
So that's why I asked you, when Homo erectus walks out, who does it encounter? What other hominid species
How it
does
sounds now, sir.
Homo erectus walks out? Who does it encounter? What other hominid species?
Yeah, it sound better now, Apostle. It sound good now.
Hominid species.
It sound better now, Apostle.
I can remote.
Okay, but I still got a delay.
No, it don't. It's a delay, Apostle.
I can
sound better now, Apostle.
I can remote.
Okay, but I still got a delay.
Yeah, I was saying I grew up most of the scientists when we go back, but I don't deal with when we go to evolution. I stop at a period of maybe over 100 to 300,000 years. So anything beyond that point, I think they're just still rising.
Okay, so you're dealing strictly with Homo sapiens and the genome in the African in Africa.
Pretty
so
much
Homo
the
erectus,
modern man and all. Yeah, that leads up to modern man. Yeah.
so
from that time.
Homo sapien is about 300,000 years ago, correct?
Yeah, we can put it around those ranges, you know.
So that's an African genome. So
yeah,
Neanderthal is a non-African genome, and that predates Homo sapien by about 400,000 years, right?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Oh, okay. I'm asking you questions, brother, just to see where you was at with it. So they have so Homo sapien and Neanderthal, they share a common ancestor, correct?
I mean, you could depend on the admixture at a point in time. I would say no, but then it depends on like in modern days, some people actually do. But I'm saying back then I would say no at one point in time.
Can I clear it up real quick?
Thank you. Thank you.
Understand that Neanderthal descend from hominids that walked out of Africa. Homo erectus walked out of Africa, as well as Homo heidelbergensis.
Okay.
So yeah, all of those hominids walked out of Africa, and they further evolved once they got to where they were at. So they were up in Europe and Asia, evolving there, mutating there, and then they encountered later Homo sapiens who walked out, and they mixed with those Homo sapiens that walked out of 70 to 100 to 200,000 years after them.
So to my understanding, I can never pronounce it. Heidelberg beginners, that's the common ancestor, and that's is actually like in Morocco, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, they're found in parts all over Africa and up in Europe and Asia.
Morocco. So that common ancestor that Neanderthal has that's the common Neanderthal that the ancestor with Homo sapien. So the Neanderthal gene mutates from the Heidelberg Genesis, correct? The Neanderthal is a mutated non-African genome, correct?
I don't know if I would say that it's non-African. It mutated once it left Africa.
So it's non-African. That makes it non-African. So any genome that mutates out of Africa is non-African.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Right.
I get what you're saying. That's what they teach. Once you leave for a period of time, you're no longer African.
And that's the overall question I wanted to ask you. How long do we have to leave to become a different subclad to become different?
They put it in ranges of thousands of years. So that's what I'm saying. Y'all would try to say we are new people within hundreds of years. I wouldn't say so. I'm just saying we got more admixture to us. Some people would say we're new people. I wouldn't say we are. I would say I have to give a few thousand years. Then you can say some new people, maybe up to 10,000 years, or what I would say. But I'm not sure to what scientists you may use.
So what's your argument with the Native American stuff, the Abos stuff? What's that?
Oh, the Negritos and the East Asians, according to science and genetics, even of the skeletal finds and the footprints, they are the Native Americans. And the Negritos, they look like Negroes, but they're not. They look like Africans, but they're not African descent.
So you do know
They say they're close to the Asians by DNA.
there's never been a Negroid skull or skeleton in North America or Canada.
I said the Negritos, according to the National Library of Science and Medicine.
Yeah, I said Negroid. So I was saying
they said Negritos, so it's a little different. I say it looked like us a little bit, but they're shorter and a little different. So,
but do you understand the point that I just made? There's never been discovered a Negroid skeleton.
African Negro, you're saying?
In North America or Canada.
Yeah, I would think so. I would think it's different people. Yeah, it's a different person. It's not the same as us, the people they're talking about. They said they're related to Asians, East Asians. But they have melanin is what I'm saying. So we can't see all black people because they had melanin that the natives are us because they had melanin. You have to go by your family roots, your oral traditions, or genetics. As I went by the scientific findings, if you related by genetics to the Negritos or East Asians, then you can say you're a Native American or Aboriginal. But many of us, I'm sure we came over on the boat and we had mixed with some of these people. So we're African. But I say we're African Jews who my people are. I mean, you may say you come from a different African. That's different.
You know, K.O.T, there is what may be an error in something that you're saying. I would not say that it was the Negrito Asians who migrated here. Academia says that it's Indo-Europeans mixed with Siberian. I forget the darn term, but
I brought that up, but that's been debunked. That's been contradicted what they said. They found older traditions. If you go back, I brought that up. They said they found older traditions in that.
All right, so they
come over though, but I'm just saying the main groups that came first, what they were saying was the.
All right.
Hold on. We got Elder Yara in the building. But before I bring on Elder Yara, I'm gonna hit y'all with some realismism. You know, I gotta come with the realismism. And you see Keon, he says, how does time make you a new people? And my brother K.O.T said he would not go with that term that we are new people. I'm sorry, I hate to bust y'all bubble, but African Americans, air quotes, we are a new people. Straight up. Hold on, because you can't deny it. The facts are, here's the facts. We've been here for over 400 years. We've been stripped of a thorough knowledge of self. We've been stripped of our culture, our names, our religion, our, air quotes, gods. We've been stripped of all of that, and we have picked up new stuff. So I'm sorry to say that we are not Hebrew Israelites. We are not Muslims. We are not Abos. We are not Egyptians. I got to say that so y'all don't think I'm being biased. We are not no goddamn Kemetic people. What we are doing and what we should be doing is studying these ideologies, studying the history, but don't put yourself in that shoe because that's not who we are. We are our own people now. And I don't know why that is so hard for us to understand. We got to make a way. You see, that right there, Kemet, Israel, that was for them back then. That was for them. They spoke them languages. If we was to go amongst the original Israelites and Hebrews, we wouldn't know a goddamn thing about their culture, brother. If we was to go amongst the Kemetic people, we don't even know if Dr. Reggie and all of these other dudes that be trying to break down the metal netter is really real. The only one that really knows the metal netter is real is the people who wrote that, is the people who put it down. That's the only one. And we don't even know if it was the real people of that we think it is. You know what I'm saying? It could have been anything. And I know y'all gonna say this is pseudo. It could have been people that come from another planet. Who knows? Who knows, man? When you look at the building of the pyramids and the structures of it, I don't think no people can build that. And we can't build that. I know we like to say that we're the greatest people on the earth and we did this and we did that. It sounds good, but nobody can do the same thing right now today, even though we have a better technology? How come no one else can do it right now, duplicate it? And we got more technology today than they ever had back then. So that right there should tell us something. That's realismism. Now y'all could go off and go on in, go in on me if y'all want. I'm good with that. Go ahead, brother. Let me bring on my brother Elder Yara. Who want to add to that? Who want to go in on that?
Peace and blessings, brother Elder Yara.
Hey, peace and blessings, shalom to you, K.O.T, to Elder Zaquan, Dezali, is that King Jew? Is that who I see right there? Yeah, peace to your family and Elder sa.neter, man. Shout out to the HOK. Hey, listen, man, great presentation, K.O.T. You're gonna always have haters and distractors when you present new information. That's just called cognitive dissonance, man. It is a disease among our people, man, and we got to vet it out. So keep bringing your new information, man. Keep teaching it how you're doing it, man. Great presentation.
Thank you, Elder.
Sa.neter, I have to agree with you, man. I think we are a new people. I have to agree with that. Because of all of the cultural intermingling, because of all the exchange of ideas, because of the way that we view the world differently from our ancestors, believe it or not. Even the fact that we live in a technological age, by that alone, we are a new people. Some will say, well, they had technology back, in ancient times, but it's not the same today. The way information is shared and stored, passed along. Matter of fact, just being involved in social media changes who we are, right? Because we get we eat from so many different plates. There's just no one direct linear way to even identify yourself anymore with one culture or another. I was just watching a short video on social media. I think it was TikTok or something like that, where you had, I think it was a guy, he may have been an orthodontist or a white guy. He was an orthodontist, and he was talking about how proud he was and how connected he was to a black man, because the black man said to him, "You my nigga." You see what I'm saying? And so he felt like that alone in itself ended racism. That's really what he felt like. And he felt like that acceptance alone, by being called the N-word, sort of brought him into, a oneness with black folks. That's crazy. You understand what I'm saying? But this is the world that we live in, man. So we definitely are. I agree with that. Just by going in every day, understanding different things, we are new people. Shout out to Sister Natalie. I got much respect for Sister Natalie. We've had some differences, but I respect people who don't change their stance simply because people disagree with them. So shout out and peace and blessings and shalom to Sister Natalie. So yeah, that's my take on it, man. Listen, I've gone in before on dealing with Native Americans and different things like that, man, and how we are connected. See, a lot of people, I didn't hear Brother K.O.T mention, and he may have, I just may have missed it. I didn't hear him talk about the Khoisan people in Africa, who have clearly what we would call Asiatic features. Am I right, Dezali?
No, those are African
Right.
phenotypes.
Yeah, I didn't mention that, but you're right, Elder.
No, listen to what I'm saying, King J. What I'm saying is that we know that those people have what we would consider mongoloid features. Now, the Khoisan might be some of the oldest or one of the oldest peoples or tribal groups in Africa, but they clearly have what we would call Asiatic features. Now,
No,
what you can argue,
the African phenotypes, but we're misidentifying them as mongoloid, but they're African phenotypes. So the Khoisan are from Africa. So when we have the brown and the black,
we don't know what the back migration. We don't know. We don't see. This is what I'm saying.
Yes,
we don't
yes,
know
we do.
what their migrations are.
Yes, we do. So
How?
the AOO starts in West Africa and it migrates to the south. When it gets to the south, it becomes the A001. That's the Khoisan. When that mutation from the west to the south, this when we have the change in that from AOO to the A001.
So you're talking about haplogroup, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's the problem when y'all have that haplogroup, and I'm not really well versed in it. But when you talk about haplogroups, it's based on where they find these people's different languages. So the haplogroups and how they're marked are really based on where they see these languages appear.
Well, the mutation happens there. So the
It doesn't
mutation.
matter whether, but see it doesn't matter where the mutation happens. It matters where it matters.
The point that you brought up, Yara, wasn't about language. It was about the eyes, and that's phenotype.
No, I'm telling you, the haplogroup, right, that you mentioned when I mentioned the Asiatic features.
And we're talking about the eyes,
you,
right?
Right. You brought up a haplogroup. A haplogroup is just based on, it's the phenotype, and you brought up a haplogroup, right?
I brought up the Khoisan haplogroup, which is
right.
A001.
Right, and the haplogroups
I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm not trying to confuse you.
I know. I'm saying the haplogroups though are based on where we find specific language.
The mutation. So listen, there was no Khoisan before there was no Khoisan before the mutation happened in South Africa. That's where the phenotype originates at. That skin color, those eye phenotypes, that originates in South Africa. There was no migration. There was no such thing as that in West Africa before that mutation. So
what caused the mutation?
You're saying is language. You're saying is environment.
What environment? What environment was different in South Africa? Hold on. Yeah, what environment was different in South Africa than the other tribes that were there previous to the Khoisan?
There was no tribes previously there before the Khoisans. The Khoisan are migrated from what? Listen, the Khoisan are indigenous to South Africa because they're the first there.
How are they the first there?
They're the first there. Nobody.
I'm gonna reboot and come back.
No, I'm asking you, how are they the first people in a specific area?
So there was a migration from the AOO haplogroup migrated from West Africa into South. Upon arrival, it mutated.
So you telling me there's an original people that originated in West Africa?
AOO, yeah.
Listen, what I'm saying.
That's
you
the
said
archaic. That's you know how you have the Eve gene. That's the Adam. That's the patro. Yeah.
So in West Africa,
right?
You're saying a mutation occurs in West Africa.
No, upon leaving in South Africa, it mutates the AOO genome.
So what people left West Africa before this mutation occurred?
So what I'm aware of is the Khoisan, right? And
you just said there was no Khoisan.
And listen, and not there is no Khoisan until the mutation occurs.
Right. So who are the people before that mutation that you said originated in West Africa?
That's what I said.
Right. Nobody knows. Okay. Nobody knows. So my point to you is it's all made up because nobody can ever tell you. Yeah, because nobody could tell you. Hold on, bro. Because nobody could tell you the origins of any of these people. You know why? You know why? Because these people have been traveling and migrating all over the freaking planet. That's what I'm saying to you. So when people say out of Africa theory, bro. So when you argue for the out of Africa theory, which you're doing, you don't really realize that that's based on racism and white supremacy. You don't really understand that. That's a racism, white supremacy. I don't care what the hell Jope says. I don't care what he says. He couldn't prove it either. They just like you just admitted. You don't know what that group was in West Africa before the Khoisan. Nobody knows. So how can anybody tell us how they got there and where they came from? You can't. You can't. It's impossible. So this is what I'm saying. We need to stop trying to fill in where there's no information. Because once you do that, you're lying. It's a theory. A theory is not, it's not, that's not fact.
Well,
And you
y'all,
yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, see, because what you may be doing right there is you will leave the door wide open, and that's too wide open for people who I call super pseudo. So yeah, we don't know everything, but there are things that we do know. So we don't want to leave the door open for people to say that we grew out the ground like damn mushrooms. We don't want to
Right.
leave the door
Right.
open for people saying that, you know, we came from fish. So yes, there are still a lot of questions. And you are absolutely correct when you say that you know, we don't have all of the details there. That's a fact. We don't have it. You know, I just don't think that we should leave the if we don't have anything to contend what the current academic status says, then you know we should understand that we're just laymen with it. We can have me and you, we really can't even have, you know, hypothesis with it, because we aren't going to go out there and darn do the work. We have to leave that to the people who are going to actually go out there. I don't know, maybe we can have a hypothesis, but you know, we don't want to have these people stray too far and just start saying wild stuff jumping out the window. That's basically where I am going with it, you know.
Yeah, I understand. And for the dummies in the chat, I absolutely do know you can prove a scientific theory can be proven. I do know that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is exactly what Dazali just said. We don't know. No, they don't know where these people, they don't know when you say somebody just popped up, right? Where somebody just popped up out of this place and they don't know. So when you start talking about haplogroups, not necessarily phenotypes, when you start talking about haplogroups, when I asked the brother about the Khoisan people, and I started mentioning the phenotypes, the Asiatic features and different things like that, that's the phenotype. But then he gave me
why are you referring to them as Asiatic phenotype?
Because it is.
But the phenotype originates in Africa. So why is it Asiatic?
How would you determine a mongoloid feature? Would the Khoisan be more closer in phenotype related to what we would consider mongoloid?
So would you say that phenotype it has become more synonymous with mongoloid and the Asiatic type, but it's actually an Asiatic African phenotype? Because if it originates in Africa and they walk out of Africa with that phenotype and they stay in Asia and over time mutate and migrate and to become lighter, but keep those same eyes, it's still an African phenotype.
That's an African phenotype based on what?
Based on they left out of Africa. They just stayed. It's
how
migration.
How do you prove
it's
that?
Migration.
How do you prove that?
Okay, Yara, you know how you prove it? You have to go into the DNA. Yara, you have to go into the DNA and you'll find out that they did a test, the Chinese government, and they was trying to say that they evolved in China when their test people did the test. This is all documented. I can pull it up.
Yeah,
They
I'm aware of
said
that.
you know about that. So that's how we prove it. They say themselves they came from there.
What they didn't say they came from there. See, that's where people go wrong in that article. They didn't say they came from there. They said that they have a percentage of African DNA. That's what they said.
Yeah, that's the dominant force of them.
That means that they came from Africa.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
No, that's not what the article says.
You're changing it. You know how I know you're changing it now, Yara? Because the article told everybody that the dude was trying to go against the out of Africa, and he said he finally conceded. What is the word concede, brother? Come on.
No, what he said, he concedes that they do have some African DNA.
No, he never
That's what
said that. He said that's where they became Homo sapien sapien from the African and not the Asian gene. Am I right, King J?
Correct.
No,
I know.
that's not what it says. Because
Pull it up. Pull it up. Shame the devil. Pull it up.
No, you can do it.
Okay, I'll pull it
up. Because what it tells you is that they were trying to say that they had no African DNA.
No, they weren't. That's not what they were saying, Yahweh. I guarantee it. He was trying to say that the bones from China was the ones where they derived in the Homo sapien and not out of Africa. When he found out that was wrong, he totally said, "I concede."
He was trying to prove an out of China theory.
That's what I just said, and he conceded. Yeah, he conceded that no, we did not in fact come out of China. We came out of Africa. This is what he said.
Read it.
Okay, I'm gonna find it.
Shoot, I'm about to say, let's look it up. Shoot. But hey, while we looking at it up real quick, King J. So if the Asiatic people are Africans, then why can't we say the Neanderthals aren't Africans as well?
So Neanderthal existed at least 400,000 to 500,000 years before Homo sapiens
300
existed. Correct. And my understanding is that that mutation occurred out of Africa.
Okay, but what were they at, and what were they before the mutation though?
So the common ancestor is Heidelberg beginnings, and that is
hold up, everybody, for 1 minute. 1 minute. Apostle, check, mic check, Apostle.
Check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check.
So
all right, it sounds good, Apostle.
You know what I did?
No, hold on. K.O.T. Whenever you want to jump in, brother, jump in.
Okay, I will. I'm just waiting on the
all right. Hey, Apostle, take over. Hold the show down, Apostle.
I got you.
But you know this is K.O.T. show, so you let him know.
I got you.
All right.
Apostle, I found it when you're ready. Let me know.
Okay, I will. I just wanted to say, so I can hear. I had an external microphone speaker connected that I had to disconnect and just use the roadcast. So that was the interference. So now that I got it disconnected, I think we're good. Okay, the Neanderthal, and I did extensive research on them because they showed up in my DNA, like 2%. A variance of like 2%. So I did research on them. They got their start from basically the Jordan Valley and then northward going into Europe. The Iberian Peninsula, basically. That Spain, Italy, Greek, that's where they were. And that's how they got their start. They are Europeans. For the most part, they were red-headed. Some were dark-headed. They had blue eyes, green eyes.
How the hell you know that?
Because I did the research on it, man. And this is what science is saying.
Okay, go ahead.
When I found it in my blood, I did the research. Do the research. If you got 23andMe, because 23andMe breaks it down, not Ancestry.com. They don't get into haplogroups like that, into that Y chromosome.
Hold on, Apostle. Did you just say you got Neanderthal in your blood? You a Neanderthal?
A variation.
Oh, wow. Okay. You got Neanderthal.
You got Portuguese blood? Yeah. If your family comes from the Iberian coast, yeah, you're mixed also. And if you're coming from further going east towards Asia, then that's going to change that beneficent blood. Because they dominated that area. But I'm just telling you, they had blue eyes, green eyes. Very seldom they had brown eyes or black eyes.
You shouldn't have said that now, man. People gonna get you for that. They gonna start calling you a Neanderthal, bro.
Yeah, Apostle or Edomite.
All they gotta do is get 23andMe, and they see a variation of it.
So
That's
now,
right. Tell the truth,
see,
Apostle. Tell the truth, man.
hold on. What you just did was you exposed yourself, brother.
What I do? Because you broke up.
You exposed yourself.
Nah. Do you know
remember? Let me tell you how. Remember, you said you got direct 100% bloodline back to Israel. You said that. Now you telling us that you got Neanderthal blood. What other blood you got, Apostle?
How am I have 100%?
No. What other blood you got, brother? Talk about it.
That's what I'm saying. If I got native blood, how can I have 100% black to Israel?
Well, then, brother, you don't have a bloodline that goes all the way back to Israel. Then
I do.
You can't.
I do. I didn't say 100%, but I do.
Nah.
I ain't say 100%.
I didn't say 100%, but I do. Just like I got native blood.
How much percent is it, Apostle?
I don't know.
Okay.
So Apostle, you want me to go ahead and read it?
And like I say, yeah, but like I say, most of what I claim to be an Israelite is through the Spirit.
That's right. Okay. So
go ahead.
All right. So the AI overview is that the Chinese doctor who conducted research suggesting a link between the origins of the Chinese people in Africa is Jin Li, a geneticist and the president of Fudan University. Key points about Jin Li's research and the out of Africa theory. Genetic evidence, Jin Li's research, along with other genetic studies, indicates that the majority, keyword, of the gene pool in China originated from Africa, supporting the out of Africa theory, which posits that modern humans originated in Africa and subsequently migrated across the globe. Y chromosome analyst Jin Li's team analyzed the Y chromosomes of males across China and compared them with those of Southeast Asians and Africans. The results suggested that Southeast Asia was a primary destination for early human migration out of Africa, with subsequent movements into southern China and then further north. Challenging the Peking man theory, Jin Li's findings contradict the hypothesis that the Peking man, a Homo erectus fossil found in China, was a direct ancestor of the Chinese people. Scientific consensus, the out of Africa theory, supported by a large body of genetics and fossil evidence, is the prevailing scientific consensus on the origins of the Chinese out of Africa. Go ahead.
Yeah. Matter of fact, in China today, up in the mountains of China, you will find the original people. They're called Negritos people.
Negritos.
I like how we make that distinction between the Homo erectus and the Homo sapien.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, the
where y'all right go
is the opposite of the Neanderthal.
Yeah, I'm right here. So
Neanderthal.
So here's what I'm saying about the whole thing. My argument I'm starting with you, and when we talking about these geneticists and these haplogroups and different things like that, right? So it talks about, again, if you go to the Scientific American Journal, July 13, 2016, I can't pull it up to show you guys. I can't do it on here because I'm on my phone, right? But it says they have a genetic makeup or genetic link. Now, that's not, he already told you in that article, that's not every person who claims to be from Chinese descent. Right? It's not every person. So, again, this is what I mean by when you guys read these things and then y'all make statements. Y'all statements are false based on what y'all reading, because what you're reading ain't the statements that you're making, right? And then you say, oh, that's a bomb. That's not a bomb. It says those people were intermingling somehow, somewhere in Northeast Africa.
Never said that. Never said that.
It says it in the article. It says
that's propaganda. It said nothing about Africa. It says South.
Bro, read it.
I will.
You just read it.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering, where'd you get that when it says he made that straight up. I mean, like, it never said that at all. It straight said that China compared them with those of Southeast Asia, nowhere in South Africa or in Africa, period. and Africans. The results suggested that Southeast Asia was a primary destination, meaning when the Africans left Africa, they went into Southeast Asia. Primary means like your prime rib, the rib of the prime, the first, like a prime rib.
The majority of them.
Yes.
Prime rib.
I just had to say that because primary means prime first.
Hey, Apostle, I hate to do this. I love you, brother, but you know when I get stuff, man, I gotta let it out. Apostle teach that you are what your father is. You are what your father is. Your forefathers go back to Neanderthal, brother.
Oh, man.
How are you, Israel? How are you, Israel? If your father
Neanderthal,
Neanderthal.
My Homo sapien father laid down with a female Neanderthal, and they got mixed up.
How you know? Hold up. How you know it was a female that laid down with a man? Come on,
How do you know it wasn't?
How you know it was?
How
you know a female Homo sapien with a Neanderthal man?
Yeah, but how you know it wasn't? How you know it was a?
How do you know it wasn't?
But if it was a man, that's even worse because you are what
my Homo sapien father
become Neanderthal, and then it go all the way down to you, and you become Neanderthal.
No, sir. And when you are what your father are, that's what your father is.
Bottom line.
Okay, that's what your father is.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna leave you alone, man.
Okay,
right.
I mean, y'all
King
it don't have nothing to do with 10 generations back.
Apostle might be Esau.
The Bible says
King J and Neil
2 to 3
Spike.
generations.
I can hear you clear, boss. Yep.
Yeah, can y'all tell me where haplogroups N and O? Because you mentioned O, right? Earlier.
I didn't. You mean King J? Okay.
Yeah, King J. You mentioned O earlier, right? Haplogroup O.
A.
You said. I thought you said O.
A-double-O.
You said A-double-O, right? So A-double-O is the mutation, right?
A-double-O is the ghost. It's the ghost genome that's in West Africa.
The ghost genome. Why do they call it the ghost genome?
Because, like you said, we don't know where we don't know the origin.
You don't know where it came from, right? But would it have some connection to anyone with haplogroup O at all?
It's the origin of all the patriarchal genomes. Period.
But would it have? But would it? Yeah, but would it have some connection to haplogroup O?
All patrilineage, it would have connection. It would be the origin of all of them.
Okay, so can you tell us where haplogroup O originated?
Somewhere down the line. So what did you want me to go in the order? It went A, turned into what? B, and then B turned into E, and then it went up. As it goes up, it mutates as it leaves Africa and it mutates into more N and O. So probably like in Turkey, somewhere up there. Somewhere, I'm guessing, but I would assume.
So there's genetic studies based on haplogroup O, because basically when we're still talking about the Khoisan and the Chinese and those with Asiatic features.
The Khoisan haplogroup is A-double-O. A-O-1.
Right, A-O-1, right? Correct. So that means there's an admixture of O somewhere, right?
No, it means that it mutated from the A-double-O. Once it left West Africa, the climate changed. It mutated.
It mutated.
The genome mutated.
Right.
And then we'll see the Khoisan genome actually leave out of Africa. It mutates into different subclass after experiencing environment changes, dietary, different diet, different, everything. It changes.
Right.
Over thousands of years.
Over thousands of years. So then you can have an alpha. So you're saying you can have an alpha group originate.
So the African genome introduction into Asia, or where we're talking about, is about 90,000 years ago, and it's supposedly from the south. Wait, right?
South Asia.
Yeah, the migration from Africa supposedly occurs through the south of Africa into Asia. So possibly, probably through South Asia.
So it wouldn't have. So you're saying it originated in Africa and not in Asia?
The genome originates in Africa, yes.
It says
Okay.
the oldest known Y chromosome haplogroup is AOO and has been found ancient DNA from Cameroon
That's what I
dating
just
back
said.
to 8,000 to 30,000 years.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah,
we're
that's
talking
what
about.
yeah, that's what you just said. So
Okay.
so when we get to by the time we get to what we would call the Chinese or Southern Chinese, you're saying that somehow that
Homo sapien makes it there.
and then we get the Chinese
Mutation. Yes.
out of a mutation.
Yes.
So then the Chinese
Opposed to the only alternative would be Homo erectus coming out of Africa, and they're saying that fossil was the Peking man,
Peking, yeah.
Peking man.
Right, which is what I was saying. That's what they were trying to debunk.
That's right. You're right. You're right.
That's what they did.
That's what I was saying. They were trying to debunk that. So
that
my
was
point,
Jin Lin, the Dr. Jin Lin.
Yeah,
Jin
he was
Lin.
trying to debunk that. That's what I was saying from the beginning.
Actually, Yara, let me say this. He was actually trying to prove that and found out he was proven, and he was honest and said, you know what? We don't, because they wanted that title. They wanted to be like, we distinct from everybody. We
are the original man. Right. The same thing
They
that
wanted to be a
Nazis
separate
was trying
species.
to do.
Yeah.
Right. The same thing the Nazis was trying to do with Aryanism. The same thing, right?
So, Yara, I want to ask you, would the word Melanesian, like melanin in Asia, be the people of color of Asia? And with the Polynesians and what is the other one called? The caulk from a caulk gun when you're doing construction, white Asians would be Caucasian?
Caucasians are from the Caucasus Mountains.
Well, Caucasian doesn't necessarily mean European or white people.
Right.
Okay.
It just means Caucasus Mountains.
I got somebody told me that before about the caulk. You know, when you're working in your house and you put caulk, come out that good, it is white, and they say that's where the root Caucasian. But go ahead.
Tell them to go. Tell them.
No, that's from the Caucasus Mountains.
Got you.
Caucasus Mountains
area. But
those
people were originally. Yeah, those people were originally a melanated people. They weren't.
So do you subscribe? Well, so do you subscribe to Yara where they say it's really Caucasoid, not Caucasian, and it's a Caucasoid skull type cranial. So
I don't believe in any of that. I don't believe in any of that.
So when they say
there's a Negroid skull type too,
right, and thus the Homo sapien. So when they say that our skull size increased due to eating meat, right?
Yeah, I don't believe in any of that. See, this is where scientific racism comes into play, and it operates on both sides, right? So again, simply because they started saying around the 1600s, well, larger cranial sizes mean that they had to be white people because they had larger brains, therefore making them more intellectual and superior genetic to blacks. I don't believe in any of that. It works but it works on both sides because you know why? None of them know. For years, decades, they were telling y'all that Lucy was the oldest African remains found. But then they come to tell you Lucy has a baboon pelvis.
Right.
What the hell is that?
That's something they found and made up.
No, is that Lucy or the other one, Pittacus, the one that was half monkey? Remember that one?
Oh yeah, but that was intentional. They knew that.
But they say half monkey, but it's a
Piltdown man. Yeah,
Piltdown man, right?
Yeah, it's a monkey, man. I don't care. I don't care how they try to remix it.
Feel so.
Yeah, I don't care how they try to remix it. They don't know.
So y'all, my question to you, because you know the Hebrew, the biblical. When I studied the Strong's Concordance, when I wanted to understand the lineage of Noah, the three sons Ham, Shem, and Japheth, according to the Strong's, it says that Japheth was the elder, Shem is the middle son, and Ham is the younger son. And in all these videos that's coming up on YouTube now with this AI, they're saying Ham, the father of the blacks, Shem, the middle son in Asia, and Japheth, the father of the whites up in the Gentile states like Greece and Rome and such. But my question would be, if Japheth that's like me, you, and what was that? Apostle. Apostle's older than you. I don't know. I'm 54. You may be older than me, Yara. And so you would be the Shem, and I would be the younger. But when they do the DNA, it's the whole science flips that upside biblical teaching down.
No.
That's
See, you're just looking at birthdays. And plus, Japheth is not the oldest. The oldest is Shem. That's why the birthright went to Shem. There was
that's okay. I need to. Let's find that out. Let's study. Let's do some research. Who is the?
I'll give you my take on that. Because from my understanding, by the time we get to these different renditions of biblical concordance and dictionaries and Bible dictionaries and different things like that, it's full of racism and white supremacy involved in this, especially when you get to Zondervan. And most people follow Zondervan. They follow like Strong's Concordance. They follow Zondervan based on that.
Okay.
So you can't always can't always Apostle. So you can't always
I get you. Y'all right. But I got two opinions. I got two opinions here. One says, according to Jewish and Christian traditions, Shem, Ham, and Japheth are generally considered Noah's three sons in order from eldest to youngest, while some sources, particularly in rabbinic literature, suggest Japheth as the eldest. The most common interpretations and the one reflecting the order in Genesis places Shem as the eldest. Now, here's the last thing I'm going to read. In the book of Genesis, they are always in the order Shem, Ham, and Japheth when all three are listed. Genesis 9:24 calls Ham the youngest, and Genesis 10:21 refers ambiguously to Shem as brother of Japheth the elder, which could mean that either is the elder. So go ahead.
Yeah. No, basically, can they hear me? Let me handle this, Yara.
Can y'all hear me?
I hear both of you.
Let me tell you why you got a problem with it. Just like you said, tradition, and that's a doctrine. See, this is the whole thing why I brought out the slide. Like I grew an elder that they use the cranial thing for racism. But the reason I brought that slide up is to show you a dating system that they have different types of human skulls dating back 100,000 years. Adam is a historical character. He's dated only 6,000 years ago, which clearly shows us he's not the first literal man. So when we get through these stories, this dealing with a man chosen by God and a woman. So there's more people already on earth, because Adam comes from maybe out the Khoisan people or one of these other people that's already on earth. He's chosen out of one of these people. So he's separated and called Adam. That is not his name. He's called Adam, him and his wife, or the woman that is chosen with him.
Both
when you get to Noah, some believe in a worldwide flood, some believe in a local flood. But regardless of the flood, there was people still living on earth, still survivors. Exactly. And Adam, Noah, Shem, and Japheth, they're all brothers. They were all Negro. They were Negro. That's the whole point of this.
We know there were survivors during the flood.
This is
we know
family.
It's a fact.
We know who God targeted during the flood.
The church
targeted one group of people.
They populated mankind, which is not true.
And that was the children of Cain. Family. The descendants of Cain is who died in the flood. So you remember it says that there were giants in the earth before the flood.
And right. And that's not only talking about tall people, that's talking about people that kept some knowledge of advanced knowledge and using it for wickedness also. It wasn't just
well, because they created people also. All sorts of animals. They played God and mixed things together that they wasn't supposed to do.
Chimera when they mix animals and humans.
And also the maps that we have today that
be dinosaurs.
So Apostle, when we look at the maps today, Apostle, we see the older maps had Africa, South Africa as the top of the world and Europe as the bottom of the world. But then in the new age, they reorientated it and they made Europe the top of the world. But my question to the panel would be South, like middle, they call it Middle East. If you got a Middle East, where's your Middle North? So who directs what star regulates where you're on top and you're looking at that star or the bottom star? How do you know that unless it's political? Each time a group wins a war, they call the top of their star the heights.
That's the point, man. They the ones that
get it. I
made these decisions. At one time, there wasn't 7 continents.
Wow.
There was one.
Pangea. But true.
I don't know what you call it, but it wasn't called Africa, and it wasn't called America.
Yep. Or Europe, probably, or Asia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a true north, right? We can stand true north. We
I
probably
guess.
But is true north the top? Is it top of something?
I would
longitude.
imagine.
Latitude wise.
But that can change.
Yeah, because the Nile River is the longest river on earth, and it goes the opposite way than the
all you
smallest
got
rivers.
to do is have a meteor shower and let something hit the earth and cause it to tilt in another direction. The pole switches.
So the Cyrus star, right? Orion, where is that at? Where is that located at?
Septu, the Cyrus. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. The Southern Polaris. I mean, they don't start. Everything up there is moving, man.
But what does the Bible say about Amos chapter 5, verse 7 or 9, verse 7? Seek of him who maketh the 7 stars of Orion.
Okay.
And those are the stars we see in Kemet over making a star. But Orion is a Greek name. That ain't got nothing to do with a star, but go ahead.
I thought it was the 7 stars of Polaris.
It say, well, I thought it said Orion. Let's look it up. What is it in
Orion? Because it says that's where Esau will make his home.
Okay.
Among the stars of Orion. He will make his home there. So, or attempt to, and then say, who will bring us down? Boast in it. That sounds like what they doing now, right? Boasting in their trips in outer space, and we're going to live on Mars, and somebody already lived on it from what I can see.
Wow,
He's
yeah,
still
that's
there.
another story. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So we stuck with our brain, our third, which I call the brain, the third eye, or the first eye that balances your temple, your body. The brain's conscious level, we're stuck in a rat race, walking maze, go to the store, go to work, come home, watch TV, instead of knowing that we're not down here nowhere, we're out here.
You sure don't look up. You look out. And no matter if you're on the south, you're looking out. If you're on the north, you're looking out.
Yeah. Hey, Apollo, is the pigeon prey and the hawk predator? What reason I say that, the hawk eyes is straightforward. The pigeon's on his sides.
Okay.
You don't see it coming.
K.O.T, your show. Y'all getting into some crazy stuff.
Yeah, Y'all go. That's real.
Yeah, that's beyond.
It's the brother show. Where you go?
K.O.T, are you here? Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. The one that just raised his hand. Can't hear you.
You're muted.
Unmute yourself.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
What's up? How y'all doing, man?
Good.
Peace.
Quick question, man. Going back to the topic of the Abos and the Indians and all that. Just a question for everyone on the panel. Maybe y'all can help me out. So I'm from the Bahamas, right? Nassau, Bahamas, just off the coast of Florida. I saw one of y'all been there before on a cruise. But in the history books, it says that we're Arawak Indians. But Jabari said that we're Africans and that Christopher Columbus brought slaves from Africa, sold them in the Bahamas, and took them to the New World. But in my history book, when I grew up on, it says that we're Arawaks. And then according to the brother who did his presentation, it's a possibility we might be Arawak Indians. But the Taino Indians came from the Arawak people. So I just want to know, is the people from the Bahamas, are we Indians, Arawak Indians, Tainos, or are we African? Or are we a mix of both?
Well, they were mixing with the Africans. That's why I brought it up. So it would be you to trace your father lineage or do DNA or such things to know if you're mixed with both or which one you come from. But as it shows that many, even when they mix, they still would call themselves by the tribe. They wouldn't even call themselves African, even though they were African descent also. But it's all about your family. Do your family say you got African lineage or?
I don't know. I'm just going based off history. In the books, it says that we're Arawak Indians, and I know Africans was brought to my country,
Right.
and we were just distributed into the new world. So I
do
just
you
want
have
to know, like,
do you have any sort of family or oral tradition that like your family tells you like where you're from or
well, we're we're from another island within the Bahamas, so from another island,
Mhm.
but we still was brought. I don't know, bro. That's the thing. I'm lost on that. So I'm just trying to figure out where I'm from. I have an
Have you
Irish
did your DNA?
Scottish last name. No, I haven't.
Well, why don't you do that? Go ahead and spend $50, $100. Do
Because
do your
my
DNA.
last name is Ferguson. Ferguson is a Scottish last name. So
Right.
I
colonization?
played. Yeah, we came from all the way from Scotland. So how the
Yeah.
hell we go from Scotland to the Bahamas? You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? That's a long way. So that's why I also think that I might be African.
Yeah.
But
You
then
know,
they're trying to
William the
Right.
Conqueror. William the Conqueror was a black man. You know that, right?
no, I didn't know.
Yeah. And his real
Okay.
name is McCarlick. McCarlick. But he was a
Okay.
black man. He was of the Aquanauts, if I'm pronouncing that right.
They don't know. Who's that? I have to do
William
more
the
study.
Conqueror. He's the
Okay.
one that caused the Scottish to rebel against England, and
Okay.
the Bruce became the king of Scotland, who was also a black man.
Okay. 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 Oh
So,
damn, man.
Apostle, so you subscribe to because of the royal crest have a lot of black people on them, or do you think that they were all originally black people?
Yeah, I don't subscribe to they were white people, but to them there wasn't a difference. They
Would
didn't
you say
see
they were
different.
black Europeans, black Africans, or black
Yeah,
Asians? What
even
would you
in
say?
English, all the dukes were basically black. Esau's kids, children. That mixture caused things to change later on in life today. That's why they are all white today. But you had to come from something. I mean, you look at Queen Elizabeth and Charles, them some ugly people, man. They got to be mixed with some baboon or something.
Them your
Yeah,
peoples
we
though. Apostle, them your peoples though. Them
They not
Neanderthals.
my peoples, man.
my
They
country,
not
we're
my
under the
people.
queen.
Yeah.
The
They're not
queen.
Hey,
my people, man.
Apostle, when I looked, I just asked the question simply: was there any type of black people in America before Columbus? And AI popped up and
No.
said, yes, there is evidence suggesting that there was an African presence in the Americas before Columbus arrived. While there is no definitive proof of a large-scale African presence, there are accounts and theories suggesting sporadic visits and potential settlements before Columbus' voyage. Wow.
Brother, we got 13
Right.
stone heads
That's right, the
coming
Olmecs.
from Arizona
Oh,
down through Mexico
yeah,
that are black.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
they
but
said,
They're talking about
I
South
didn't
remember
America
what I
come
though.
brought
with
up. The
food.
Negritos are black too, though, and they not us.
Right, the Greeks were black first,
Yeah, they
yeah, right.
also the
The
Negritos
Trojans,
are also black. So
yeah.
some of
But
We
the
can't say they're
Asians are
not
like
us. We can just say that
that's why I
they
be
are closer
saying.
to the Asians. But at the same time, we got to keep in mind their phenotypes and everything when they were the first out of it. Because there's a video on YouTube about the Adam and Eve people and the Sentinel Island people being the first out of Africa. So yes, over where they are, they're closer to what that came out of them. But they go back to us before any of them come back. The other ones didn't make the Negritos, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this: the East Coast Indian doesn't look anything like the West Coast Indian.
At all.
Yeah,
Nothing.
and then the
The
Negritos are
Ottawa.
indigenous
Yep.
peoples. Just so you know that they're known as
Ojibwa.
indigenous peoples from where they come from and
Say
where they
what,
come to
K.O.T.?
America.
The
Say that
Iroquois
again,
Nation.
K.O.T.
Yep.
K.O.T. Can you say that again?
Oh, I'm saying the Negritos, they're known as Aboriginals of each land that they went to. They was the first in the land that they're at, is what is
Right.
stated by what
Yes,
I
right.
brought up. And they look like Africans, but it says their genetics are closer to East Asians.
For
So
Right.
being over there so long.
I remember
no,
my
but
mother
they said
talking
they
about.
found them in America too, so they're related to them light skinned Indians too that we see.
That's true, and they was here, like you said, they're the first to leave from where? Africa. When they got to where they were who they were, and the other people came out of their seed. It wasn't the other way around. They couldn't produce them.
Remember what they state once you go into you out, you know what I'm
saying? Yeah, I get it. I understand that.
I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
That's what they said. Because
I understand.
But some people believe that they may have been here in America while people was migrating out of Africa. That's why I said it's the wrench in the argument of the scholars right now, because they're not sure.
Okay.
I know at least 20 to 30,000 years.
Because they said 50,000 years is what they found at the minimum they can date to them being in America. And that's at the date they're saying people left out of Africa around 50 to 60,000 years. So they
I know a lot of y'all read Ivan Van Sertima, and a lot of y'all have read Dr. Clyde Winters, and who else I'm thinking of? The one from
Clyde Winters has been on this show.
And he has, rest in peace, Dr. Clyde Winters. But it was another one that came and called Early Americas, Blacks in Early Americas. He was from Belgium or something. He wrote.
I didn't know he passed away.
Dr. Clyde Williams died.
He been let me Google it, because he passed. And he said on the he was on the show, and he said, when I leave, watch they start saying my translation was correct. Let me look him up. I'm gonna look up when he passed.
I didn't know that. I hadn't heard that. They put that rumor out on Smokey Robinson on the YouTube. I don't know why they do that mess, man. One day last week said he died today. I don't know why they do that. But they put it out on Smokey Robinson.
Okay, Apostle, they got it. They got Dr. Clyde Winters, December 5th, 1948 to September. No, this is another Clyde Winters. That couldn't be him.
I was going to say, he was just on the show.
He was just on the show.
That's on
a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me make sure. We don't want no bad room on the doctor.
Yeah, don't put that out there. Yeah. I think he was talking about Nubia or Kush.
Yeah, he was talking about all of it. He came on twice.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember I asked him about his translations of the Meretic Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, the black rich man, he ain't worth a nickel in this country. All of them, they stripping them down. They stripping them all down. If they can't master you physically, they'll do it mentally. Ain't nowhere in the world Floyd Mayweather is broke. Nowhere in the world. They need to stop talking like that, man.
Yep.
Who said Floyd broke?
YouTube, everybody.
Nah.
Even
ain't no way.
Smith, all of them are saying he broke. 50 Cent, all of them.
They trolling.
Yeah.
No way Floyd broke.
Saying that and he's gonna be with that funny money, man. That I call it polite money. He did have polite with him, but they saying they're gonna bring him up on fraud charges.
So they froze his accounts, is what you saying?
They saying they took $200,000 worth of cars, but the kind of cars he got, that's about 3.
That's one car. Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, I ain't know that.
Yeah. Look at YouTube, man. They tearing Floyd's ass up. Excuse me, no cursing. They tearing Floyd up, man. Every day there's 5 or 6 different shows on it.
So look, what we really missing is the missing link is just, I guess if we're saying boats, like there's no history of migration really, or mass migration from Africa to the Americas, really. It's basically what we're saying.
I don't know. I know you could take a raft, man.
So I know that. Let me change that, Apostle.
Right in Florida.
It's a Clyde Winters, but I don't think it's our Clyde Winters.
Right.
It's a black man here named Clyde Winters, Dr. Clyde Winters obituary. but he passed in September 2024, so that ain't him
No.
at all. No, so I take that out, take that back. Yeah.
Was he from Chicago?
I didn't really read all of it, but I just seen his picture. It don't look like him either. He's an
Okay.
older doctor though, black man.
Yeah. Clyde Winters, he got a full face.
Yeah, we know who Clyde is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what about David Imhotep? You heard of him?
No.
He wrote a book about blacks in early America, and he did bone stuff. He's the only one that has a peer-reviewed book. I think him and Aunt got into it on the channel, but he's a PhD, Dr. David Imhotep.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Clyde Winters is pretty tight. And
Kawakawa. Getting the argument with Unc.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
Unc disagreed with himself.
Cool.
And it's still on himself. Fire on himself. I'm gonna leave Unc alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. K.O.T. When I heard you mention the Muskogee.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that jumped right on my channel.
Yeah, a lot of
Muskogee,
African Jews. When I say Africans, I'm claiming that these are African Jews. You know what we teach. But they mixed among the Muskogees also.
Where's the Muskogees located?
Huh?
Where are they located?
Hilton Head.
Two locations.
Going into from Hilton Head, South Carolina, coming towards Tennessee.
Okay.
So we're mixing with Yamsies too, which is open to knowledge. But
Yamasi?
Yeah, Yamasi. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
And Kuso, so we're Kuso Muskogee. Kuso Muskogee through marriage. But originally it all started with the Creek and the Cherokee. Because the Creek ain't nothing but the Cherokee. The Cherokee was so massive in the Carolinas that they had to brought out. So they brought out all the way up to the Tennessee Valley. That's my reason for coming here. That's my connection to coming here to Tennessee. And
now, Apostle, how pseudo or pseudo not or K.O.T? What's the brother's show? K.O.T. I want to ask you. You've heard of those artifacts found in Michigan? It was supposed to be ancient Egyptian, and they had writings and such. Was that fake or what?
Yeah, I didn't hear.
Some classified as fake. Some saying. I mean, it's different sources on it.
Exactly. I'll be hearing. Yep, different ways. Okay.
There's different sources on it. But I would say though, because a lot of those people, like the Negritos was over here, and a lot of those connected to the Olmec culture.
Yeah.
And they say a lot of them people did travel back and forth to Egypt or Kemet, with the Kemites, whatever.
Oh wow! So I read a book I had here, right? I read it on this channel. A passage from Dr. Ivan Van Sertima's Revisiting Ancient America, where he said there was a tribe in West Africa, and I watched it on YouTube. It's in black and white. An African making a dugout boat from West Africa, and it traveled to the Americas, and it landed in America 2 weeks faster than Vespucci's ship that we call America by America Vespucci's.
Yeah, because they went to the Africans to make them a lot of ships because they made better ships. If you go read it up, they made better ships. So they would go to Africans to make them ships a lot of times.
Yeah. Columbus never set foot in American soil, though. Y'all note that.
Yeah. And he stayed in West Africa for 26 years. Him and his dad up and down the coast hearing about stories across the waters. That's in his journals.
African Jew.
He said, what was the black man's name? William the Conqueror.
That's
McCarrick.
A lot of black royalty in Europe. David McRitchie is a good book to read. Source for that.
Yeah.
I read. He got two books. I got them right here. David McRitchie, ancient Europe, Black Europe.
Right.
How far back you go on pre-dynastic cultures? Like the Atlanteans, Lumerians, like that type of. Or you look at all that as pseudo.
No, I mean I don't have a full. understand, because they found the circular civilization, I think in Africa, like close to the Atlantic near Morocco, that looked like they was trying to call that Atlantic, and I don't know how Atlantis was.
Yeah, they got something in the water too. That's
Yeah,
a ring
like
city.
Well, it was a
It's
global
underwater.
civilization. It wasn't just one city like they teach on the
Right,
cartoons and some of the
right.
movies.
yeah. Even Diop said something about the Sabrini Islands or something was a big like an earthquake or something, or a volcano that destroyed it.
Right.
Yeah. But it speaks also of nuclear weapons being used. If you look
Yeah,
that up.
I believe that's possible, that they knew how to mix chemicals that we call witch. I would spell it WHICH, witch doctor, the smart one or the dumb one made them.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Man,
So the
I
game
love
must be on, huh? Anybody know what the score is?
on the baseball, the Mets.
Basketball.
Oh, no, who playing?
I think that's why I sang in here. New York is probably playing.
No, tomorrow. I looked on them. I looked at my
Yeah,
match
tomorrow.
application. Say tomorrow. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I tried to catch it. The Mets is playing right now, baseball.
Now, I can't watch baseball on TV. I used to love going to the game.
Yes, sir.
I can't watch it on TV.
Man, it's slow.
It's like golf. Man.
Prince of Prince, real quick. Can I ask the Prince a question?
Peace,
Yeah.
brother.
Just for conversation topic. So you say you're an African Jew, correct?
Yes, brother.
Why? How do you come to that conclusion?
Well, I claim my father's lineage. His
What do you
side,
mean?
that's our genetics, DNA, the
What
Bantu,
do you,
the culture, the Igbo, the Yoruba,
Mhm.
the people that claim to follow this culture and got documents on it leading over 2,000 years.
so you're jumping in, but you're jumping in from wait, Apostle. He's jumping in from biblical to historical. So biblically, just stay biblically wise, right?
Oh, biblical? You saying how I know biblically?
70 AD is when we came into Africa.
No, Apostle, I'm talking to him.
You talking to me personally? Why I believe I'm a Jew? I'm saying from my father's lineage, but you saying I know wasn't Christian or nothing, you know?
No, you're saying an African Jew.
Yeah.
Biblically, right?
Yeah, biblically. And blood, I'm saying that's the culture my people follow.
Just explain that biblically. How can you be an African Jew?
What do you mean?
The
trying
Bible.
to use like the curses and things that people say. That's
I'm not using anything. I'm just subscribing to your ideology.
I'm just saying that's the term they use today. You know, African Jew. I'm just using it for people to understand. But I would say
we understand.
I would say Igbo or Bantu. That's what we would just say.
That's historically talking about biblically. Like just stay in biblical context with us right now, okay? So you're an African Jew, right?
Right.
Does that not contradict? How can you? So Ham, Shem, and Japheth, right? They all migrate different places, right? So Ham would be synonymous with Africa.
No, it ain't like that. These are three brothers. If you're going off Christianity, these are three brothers, and they spread off with their own kingdoms.
There's no line in Africa that say Shemites can't come here.
Yeah, they all worship Yah, the Most High. They all worship.
Come on, man. You can't expect me to be silent.
I'm asking him where his understanding is at.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically based off racist theology. The place wasn't called Africa in the time of the stories. You get what I'm saying?
So your guy Yahweh, right? That's an Edomite guy, right?
Who?
Midianite, the land of Seir.
That's a god over all the three sons of Noah. But the other two sons strayed away. All us worship the same God. They all strayed away from the true God. They all have the same God.
I definitely disagree with that. So the
origin of the store, you say biblically. Go to the store, Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, they worship the same God as Noah, their father. He was a righteous, just man. A just man, they teaching their children three different gods. They all praise Yah, the existing one.
So according to your book, Moses comes back from Midian with Yahweh.
Yeah, and who is he? A relative already.
Yahweh.
He comes from he gets that guy from the land of Seir.
No, he had that guy when he left
of Abraham.
Why did he leave?
He didn't leave with the guy. He found the guy. Excuse me?
Why did he leave? He identified
He
as
left.
an Israelite.
No, Apostle. He left because he killed somebody, and he had to go.
Yes, he killed somebody because he seen an Egyptian mistreating one of his brethren.
Another Hebrew.
Another Hebrew.
The point
And he
being made,
stepped
Apostle,
in.
is that Yahweh is not a God of that land.
Yahweh
Yahweh is a God.
I know what you're saying, brother, but what I'm saying is Yah, it really means he that exists. The truth is the spirit. He has spirit. He exists. The Midianites are children of Abraham also. Abraham taught the Midianites, Esau, the Edomites, all them know Yah, all praise Yah. They turned away from Yah.
And this is in Mesopotamia.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. They all knew Yah through Abraham also.
In Mesopotamia.
Oh no, Abraham, Yah chose him by spirit because he wasn't praising.
But location wise, when he got the spirit, he was in Mesopotamia, right?
Right.
Okay. And he wasn't Abraham. He wasn't Abraham then. He was Abram. He didn't become Abraham. He didn't become Abraham until he came into the land of Canaan, right?
Did he migrate?
No, he became Abraham when Isaac was born. Before Isaac was born, before Ishmael was born, God had changed his name. And really, that's not a change. It's still
not.
Abram.
Adding the birth into his name.
Broham.
Just the point our brother misses. They lived in Africa already before they let the flood happen.
Who lived in Africa already?
Then they move into the boat lands in the mountains Ararat. That's where they lived from then. Then they begin to migrate back into Africa. Is what the story is really teaching.
Nah.
They originally from Africa already. Is what I'm saying. That landmass.
The boat landed on the mountains of Turkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Turkey. That's not Africa.
No, but they migrated back to where they was before. They flowed.
Brother, the Bible
before they built the boat, they were in Africa.
Right.
No, the Bible tells you that the first kingdom was in Kish.
Who?
And that's Kish.
That's after
the Bible doesn't tell us that.
No. Exactly. Yes, it does.
No.
After the flood.
After the flood. We talking about before the flood. I'm talking before the flood.
Okay.
I said directly.
The point that I'm saying is that that's all this we're describing is Mesopotamian Sumerian history. The early parts of the Bible.
King J, you correct. You stand correct. It says here God changed Abram's name to Abraham and gave him the land of Canaan and gave him the land of Canaan.
Right. But that was before Ishmael was born.
Yeah, that's without reading the narrative of the story. That's just going off.
So he wasn't correct.
Okay.
And like I say, the changing of the name is not what you think. How do you spell Broham?
Those are Indian Sanskrit type of.
Abraham is the same thing, man. You don't pronounce it Broham, you pronounce it Brom.
Brom.
That's how you pronounce it.
It's a title. It's a title.
So
it's a royal title.
That's his name.
It's a title.
Okay, and then God changed it. Instead of saying a father, one, a father of multitude. Many. Okay.
All right. I hate to break up the party.
Yeah.
But, I gotta let K.O.T close us out, man.
Yeah.
And it's not the Knicks on today. It's the
Mets.
The who?
The Mets is on right now.
Man, I'm looking at Ant-Man, man.
Oh.
Ant-Man take on G, man. Come on.
Ain't he a superhero?
Yeah.
Nah, man. Ant-Man. Yeah, Minnesota versus who?
OKC.
There you go.
Oh, that's all right now?
Yeah, brother. It's the halftime right now.
Okay, I'm gonna watch that.
Come on over here and let K.O.T close out.
Okay. I like all praise to the Heavenly Father. Yo, by the power of his word, I rock. Hallelujah. Peace and blessings to Elder sa.neter for having me on to bring out this information. Peace and blessings to the Elder. Y'all hit his cash app up. Show him some love. Peace and blessings to my Elder Apostle. Much love to you. Peace and blessings to my brother King J. Peace and blessings to the Elder Rakufu. And all the other brothers that came on, like my brother DZ. And peace and blessings to the family that's watching in the chat. And hit my brother sa.neter Cash App up. Show him some love. Hallelujah, family.
Hallelujah.
Peace to the family.
All right, music from K.O.T.
It's great show, K.O.T. Great show, K.O.T. looking out for the family. Bring it on home. Let their heart beat.
I stand up for y'all, but I don't need anything. No, he got my back and he will never change. That's loyalty, that's loyal. Me from the bottom, we from above. I stand up for y'all, but I don't everything. No, he got my back and he won't never change. Never change. Loyalty, that's loyal. Me from the bottom, we from above. I stand up for y'all, and the spirit in me. Stay out that black, cause that's some bricks he will be in me. I love that brother with a fan, cause they ain't really friendly. Sleeping on the floor, had nothing, they don't really fit me. Raised them on like he was 10, no, they don't really hit me. Women make me blow and smoke, it's a chimney. Ain't no joke, I'm on it with me. I'm low from blocks to hoods, no need to mention names. Oh yeah, we do this for y'all, but that don't mean anything. If for them babies, they had nothing but a pray for rain. If for them young ones, they would be, it would raise the pain. I bring that sword from my mouth, we gon' make a change. I stand up for y'all, I won't praise his name. I stand up for y'all, but I don't need anything. No, he got my back and he will never change. That's loyalty, that's loyal. Me from the bottom, we from above them. I stand up for y'all, but I don't everything. No, he got my back and he won't never change. Never change. Loyalty, that's loyal. Me from the bottom, we from above them. Stay on my toes and watch my back, I know them devils creeping. Walk with the spirit, got that word, they can hear breathing. Don't rub my back, don't grab my fringe, no, I hate that genie. That spirit bird, can I be moving, no, you can't see me. I'm not from this world, you better tell somebody, bro. Full of problems for the dollar, dance, everybody. I can feel your pain, cause they don't care about them. Walk through that fire for them, like, yeah, I got him. You want it, oh, yeah, I got it. Tell them others, it's too late for them. Step in this ring, we go toe for toe, toe for toe. Tough as environment, round for round, blow for blow, blow. No one not mine, I'm on that storm, rain, sleet, and snow. Came on my back like a medic, been ready for war. They choke you on the front line, ready to go. We done run with the jungle, climbed out of snow. We don't deal with the foes, can't trust them. Them boys throwing signs, but they ain't saying nothing. I see my bread on my sleep, and when I wake from it, it's about to go down up in the street. About this shit, something sitting on my feet, cause I'm a man on that fix, running. Welcome to the HOK, we like a wig coming. No, we don't slide with the snakes, look away from us. Get them your last, watch and see this thing gon' take from you. For the babies, get my heart and soul, make a way for 'em. I put my life on the line like I'm big phone. See, in a minute, we in a minute, some Popeye with his bitty. We keep it bottom moving like a city. I'm right there back and want me, you can get it. I got that hammer homie like a way. Research, run that badger like a play. Bring it towards you like a play. I'm a with us, we straight. Step in this ring, we go toe for toe, toe for toe. Tough as environment, round for round, blow for blow, blow. No one not mine, I'm on that storm, rain, sleet, and snow. Came on my back like a medic, been ready for war. They choke you on the front line, ready to go. We done run with the jungle, climbed out of snow. We don't deal with the foes, can't trust them. Them boys throwing signs, but they ain't saying nothing. They say that they ready for what we gon' get in no thing change. They living in nothing, the rope at their bottom, they hollering the gang, can't throw in the bang, they killing the bang bang. Take away for these baby, they living these shit in the same pain. I gotta keep it alive, we clean them, bucket them up, we make a way to the top, yeah. I thank the Father cause he made a way, and all my haters, all stars, they do the fade away. Up from the gossip, the drama, the hate, they to the cheddar. Oh, when they go down, they still hollering thunder. We go to vote for them people, I'm talking young and old, toe for toe. Round for round when it's going down, blow for blow. Searched around from high to low, this info got a red dot. Sources in this clip, man, this might just be a headshot. Step in this ring, we go toe for toe, toe for toe. toughest environment, round for round, blow for blow, blow. So when I mind, I want that storm rain, thick and slow. Cap on my back like a medic, ready for war. They choke you on the front line, ready to go. We done wrong with the jungle, climb out the snow. We don't deal with them folks, can't trust them. Them boys throwing signs, but they ain't saying nothing.
I love K.O.T music. I love K.O.T music because it's different. He don't sound like nobody.
Nobody else.
He
Nobody else.
original. I love his music, man. For real.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you, Elder.
Yeah, let me play his other joint right here. It's fire. All is fire.
Step in the HOK and get raw form tough as environment. We pulling up on them, putting in that word, trying to get your mind ready. Trying to see your soul if they only wouldn't let. We do this for the babies, never give up on them. All of my people just know I got love for them. They say they want smoke, but they ain't ready. Find me in the studio, that's not net. Step in the HOK and get raw form tough as environment. We pulling up on them, putting in that word, trying to get your mind ready. Trying to see your soul if they only wouldn't let. We do this for the babies, never give up. All of my people just know I got love for them. They say they want smoke, but they ain't ready. Find me in the studio, that's not that. And keep by the system, better watch what you say to them. I do it for the shit, I know I gotta make a way for them. Carry them on my back like I take the gym. Never turn my back, you know I gotta lead the way for them. HOK, bringing conscious to the people, holler freedom. Furry giving knowledge, how we free them. Food for this, that's how we feed them. It's about to go down in the big coliseum. They talk by smoke, they just blow. They don't want it when you see them. We ready all deep from the head to the bill. In the club, if it's a vibe, me, we take them to the deep things. Slum with the knowledge they been seeking. You need a hand, they been reaching. Really got my back when I need it. See they walking dead, they been sleeping. Higher than the mountain, I'm peaking. Hold up from the cold down with all this beefing. For the people, it's the spirit they be seeking. Trying to say they baby from the leeches. Been in your pain when we speaking. Trap with that word, got that armor of yeah, but it's the spirit we breathing. sa.neter put the other channels on them now like the sisters at a meeting. I'm in a yacht, no dick cannot be them. Shalom, fam, peace and blessings, how we greet them. Step in the HOK and get raw form tough as environment. We pulling up on them, putting in that word, trying to get your mind ready. Trying to see your soul if they only wouldn't let. We do this for the babies, never give up on them. All of my people just know I got love for them. They say they want smoke, but they ain't ready. Find me in the studio, that's not that. Step in the HOK and get raw form tough as environment. We pulling up on them, putting in that word, trying to get your mind ready. Trying to see your soul if they only wouldn't let. We do this for the babies, never give up on them. All of my people just know I got love for them. They say they want smoke, but they ain't ready. Find me in the studio, that's not that. Don't swerve in my lane, you might crash out. Pull on my friends, you might cash out. Just step in the HOK, we keep it jumping the 808. We put the fake in the hate and the haters way. If we gon' save them, then we gotta make a way. On us a fade away. I got that light that's so bright, I can make a day toughest environment. They holler HOK. About your cot, that's HOK. The big coliseum, no, they don't play. Not arms or heads, I'll choose your fate. Up, we can keep the lead that judo way. Mama keep them clothes on, no tour for my little brother, put them feelings too many. Getting taught, never trade your soul for a crack. Got them devils in the cup, but I'm ready. On my back, they heavy. Keep pushing, we will never stop. Keep running out the numbers, I be running clock. Breeze blow, you just make it pop. When we touch down, you gon' hear it drop. Toughest environment.
Fire. Peace and blessings, everybody. We out, man. Peace.
All right, bro.
Thank you, K.O.T. Peace.
Yeah.
Thank you, Apostle.
Thank you.
Yep, anytime.
I think you made a boo-boo though, Apostle.
What?
We let everybody know. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. You too. You got it. Don't worry about it. You got it in your bloodline.
I got you, Apostle.
Yeah. Okay. Don't worry about it.
You gotta stop saying that you're a bloodline Israelite, brother.
No, I can't. Can't do that. Hey, listen.
Yes, you can do that.
I just downloaded it on my phone.
You can do that, Apostle.
Okay. Does a link thing comes up on your phone showing it that you got to download?
None of us go back to them people, brother. We got to stop it. That's like saying you can't tell nobody else that they don't have Kemet in their bloodline. The Kemetic people.
I'm saying generally our bloodline don't go back to Kemet. But that's
right,
fine.
and it don't go back to Israel, brother.
It does, brother.
No, it don't, man.
Listen, brother. Total different.
You know it's mythological, right, Apostle? You know it's a mythological story, right?
No.
Come on, brother. You wrong for this.
Downloaded my phone on my roadcaster. Do I get a link like a link.
Yeah. Let me show you how it looks. This is how it looks. Let me show you. This is what you got to download. Hold on. Let me see. This is what you got to download, brother.
Did you pair it? Is that how you did it?
Hold on. I'm trying to show you. It looks like this when you download it. I'm sharing it right now. Do you have that?
No, I'm looking for it. Okay, that's what I wanted to see.
All right, listen to me. Listen to me good. Go to YouTube. The Apostle, hold your head up, man. I need you to look at me. Go to YouTube. Follow the steps. Anything you want to know, go to YouTube when it comes to the technology. Say, how do I download Rodecaster Pro app? And it's going to take you through every step. And you follow them steps.
Okay.
That's it. And if you want to know anything else, how do I make echoes on YouTube? You follow the step, and you know, you can do echoes, you can do different monster sounds. You know that, right?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
What I don't have, I even got what size?
You don't have this. You don't have this.
This is the toughest environment to be in, and we're binatas.
You don't have this.
You are going to be held responsible for every word that come out of your mouth.
Now, if you want that, I'm selling that. I'm selling that clip, that part.
Oh.
I'm selling that soundbite, brother.
Can you see these ST dicks?
Yeah, and I'm selling this soundbite right here.
Stop all this stinking. You can't sell me my own work, man.
Yes, I could, brother. It's mine now. It was on my show. So listen, it's mine.
Which one of these do I use? The real small one?
The small one. The small one.
This one here.
Yeah, you put it right in the back. Look at it. It's next to the power cord.
Okay.
It's next to the power cord. You'll see it.
Okay.
But I told you, go right to YouTube and type it up. It'll show you everything.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
Right.
Let me see that emblem again. It's a 0 with a line through it.
Right? Yeah. Yep. But when you go to the YouTube, it's going to show you, brother. You got to download the app. Go to it.
Okay.
You go to Rodecaster Pro. When you go to their website, you're going to see a download in there, and you hit that and download it. Once you download it, drag it to your desktop. You know how to do all that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Drag it to your desktop. And then put it in your applications. That way you always have it.
Okay. I'll take care of it, man.
All right.
Appreciate you.
All right. Peace, brother.